Skype on in here. It's Skype username LRN.FM. We do have you're welcome to join us here. You can take control of the airwaves. There's all kinds of stuff for us to talk about here tonight. But with you in the studio, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Darryl.
We've got some interesting court-related stories this evening and justice system-related stories. Coming up here tonight, I have a story from actually Prison Legal News about what's called risk prediction and whether or not that is junk science or real criminal justice reform. We'll tell you what that is all about coming up here in moments. Also, speaking of science, apparently judges are known for allowing what is considered disavowed science into the courtroom. And Darryl, you'll be talking about that this evening. Our toll-free number, if you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, a judge has been shot outside of a court. And, Melanie, you have that story as well. Of course, you can bring up anything. That is the point here on Free Talk Live. So we'll start out actually with this story from Prison Legal News, which is actually a nice publication that I've been receiving ever since I went to jail for civil disobedience back in 2011. And we actually know one of the lawyers who works for Prison Legal News. It's an interesting organization that they send out basically very thick monthly newsletters. I would say this one is getting close to 70 pages.
That's basically a magazine without the glossy cover.
Right. Yeah, it's just print. It's like newsprint magazine, essentially. It's like 70 pages, so it's a pretty long, detailed...
It's a magazine.
Yeah, it's a long, detailed, well-researched, excellent magazine. And it's, of course, all about prisoners' rights, basically. And it talks about some of the just outrageous things that are happening in various different prisons around the country. They really are, Johnny on the spot reporting on this stuff. And they actually fund themselves by sending these Prison Legal News copies to prisoners all around the country. And anytime one of the Prison Legal News gets rejected, well, then they just file themselves a lawsuit against that prison or jail, and they win. And they
too bad it's not the warden that winds up having to pay the settlements. It's the taxpayers of the area, and I'm guessing a lot of times, these are federal facilities that wind up, rejecting the publication for one reason or another.
I don't know. I mean, maybe the feds know a little better than the boys in down home Georgia that are restricting only Bibles to be allowed. As far as I don't remember if it was Georgia, but it was some southern state where there was some prison where they would only allow Bibles.
I think it was Virginia when James Cleveland, former co-host, got arrested and was in jail temporarily. Dinwiddie, Virginia. Yeah,
was where that was.
He can have a Bible,
and that's it.
And it's got to be King James version. He can't have one of these NIVs.
Right. So, jails like that, prisons like that, are ripe for a freedom of speech or whatever lawsuit, and that's what these guys do. That's how they fund basically their entire operation. So, kudos to them out there, the folks over at Prison Legal News. The story from Joe Watson about risk prediction, which I got to say I didn't know about prior to hearing this. With its criminal justice system bursting at the seams, one state has decided to take a controversial step to alleviate the pressure. In 2015, Pennsylvania officials indicated the state would become the first in the nation to mandate the widespread use of risk predictors, which are also referred to as risk assessments, to determine how much time defendants should spend behind bars. State judges will use statistical probability to determine whether offenders are likely to commit future crimes, data that until recently was almost exclusively used in the re-entry phase to determine how to best supervise prisoners upon their release from prison or jail. And now, thanks to state legislation passed in 2010, those considered unlikely to engage in future criminal behavior will receive shorter sentences or avoid prison time altogether, which would ease overcrowding in state prisons and help reduce the $2 billion bill that Pennsylvania spends on its corrections system each year. But on the flip side, as critics of so-called evidence-based sentencing argue, offenders deemed at greater risk of committing new crimes based on factors as their age, gender, criminal record, educational background, and even their history of arrests, not just convictions, could spend more time in prison even if they don't actually commit future offenses. So, what's that? Oh, you're the wrong color? Oh, you're from the wrong neighborhood? Well,
you're from the wrong socioeconomic tier.
Our statistics show, oh, what's that? You were arrested but not convicted of some things when you were a teenager, perhaps? Well, our statistics show that because you come from this place and you're this color and you got, this history, that means you need to have a more severe sentence.
And when you look at these sorts of stories about basically the pre-crime detection, which is what
that's what this
really is. When you look at these stories in light of some of the things that so-called race realists are advocating, you can see, how dangerous what they're advocating really is.
Well, I mean, this is not new by any means. This is just a workaround, basically, to the 14th Amendment, because they can't come out with a chart that says, okay, for petty theft, here's the sentence if you're a black male between the ages of 16 and 22. Here's the sentence if you're a white female between the ages of 65 and 73. They can't do that. So they're like, oh, we got a scientist to tell us that was the chart anyways. So it's science, even though it's not
now
science.
We have a computer program that tells us because scientists made the computer program. And
and I've got a brilliant idea. Let's put the thing on a damned blockchain and start an ICO for it.
So this is certainly no laughing matter. This is pretty serious, especially for anybody that's going to fall into the categories that get punished more extremely. Let's see here, Adult Probation and Parole Department, APPD in Philadelphia's Ellen Kurtz. She was formerly the director of research at the APPD. She says, quote, "It's a higher stakes decision point in terms of someone's liberty. It definitely makes me a little bit more uncomfortable," she says. What many like Kurtz fear is that those who could be most adversely affected by evidence-based sentencing, as they call it, are already the most disproportionately represented in America's prisons and jails, people of color and those living in poverty. In Allegheny
County?
Allegheny County, Philadelphia, and Montgomery counties, for example, blacks were more likely than other racial groups to be rated as high risk on risk assessments, according to the 2013-2015 data analyzed by Reading Eagle.
Allegheny County is home to Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Washington County is just south of that. I know because I used to live in southwestern Pennsylvania.
Okay, good to know. In Berks County, Hispanics were more likely to be rated as high risk. Risk predictors are, quote, described in a way that makes them sound dry and difficult to oppose, said Sonia Starr, co-director of the Empirical Legal Studies Center at the University of Michigan. She said, quote, they're evidence-based, they're scientific, they're based on regression studies. People don't like to say they're against smarter sentencing or more informed sentencing. But they might not understand, she continued, saying that when you give a risk prediction that's based on group averages, you're essentially saying that the state should penalize someone for being black, male, young, unmarried, or having parents that went to prison. Unquote. Risk prediction has been used in the criminal justice system for nearly 100 years, according to the New York-based Council of State Government Justice Center, which has studied the evolution of such assessment tools. They've typically been used to evaluate pretrial detainees when making bond decisions or estimate the risk of releasing prisoners on parole. For decades, risk predictors were little more than psychiatric evaluations based on almost entirely on interviews with offenders, and that methodology was widely accepted, quote, prior to the development of structured risk assessment tools in the 1970s, when risk prediction first became more data-driven, according to the report by the CSGJC. The current incarnation of risk prediction, quote, explicitly integrates case planning and risk management into the process in order to enhance treatment and supervision of offenders, they reported. It sounds so scientific. It sounds so, like, oh, well, we've got all this figured out.
We've got a computer program.
These are people's lives that we're talking about here. We're just going to decide things based on arbitrary numbers, and that's it. Not look at their actual case. Not look at their actual, conviction record.
Nope, you fit into Category X, so therefore Y.
We'll tell you a little bit more about this coming up here in moments. Risk prediction. Is this real criminal justice reform or junk science? You can share your thoughts and bring up anything you want here. This is Free Talk Live.
Don't do what I did and run out. If it's working, don't quit. Why would you stop? Why undo all the good that's been accomplished?
You've got to feed them right for life.
Dynavite
is nutrition.
If I ever took Roy off of Dynavite.
No, 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 no.
When I get to about 3/4,
When I get down to the bottom of my box of Dynavite, oh no, I've got a couple more scoops. It's time to place my order. Dynavite.com. DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of NomoFlea free.
NomoFlea flea spray kills fleas safely with no poison.
Because it's a polypeptide protein molecule made from
Vegetable oil.
Try NomoFlea.
Free this week at Dynavite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business. So make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
When you're coping with bad news and the news media come calling, and they will, don't clam up. As notorious political figures find out the hard way, the cover-up can be worse than the crime. So get out in front of unfavorable news about your company, your group, or organization, or yourself. The sooner you confront a negative story, the sooner it will be over. Responding as quickly to negative stories as you do to positive ones enhances your credibility. Hiding embarrassing information or lying will do more damage than damage control. Never stonewall. Tell your side of the story, use specifics, and detail what corrective action has already been taken. Respond in kind. If the issue is emotional, don't sound like a cold, unemotional Mr. Spock. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll free. Join us on the radio waves. Here are our numbers: 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, so Skype on in here at username LRN.FM. And let's talk nutritional supplements for a minute. Over 60% of Americans take a nutritional supplement, and for good reason. Nutrient depletion of our soil, coupled with dependence on processed foods, has left most people deficient in essential nutrients. But where do you start? If you visit a naturopath, you'll likely be told a cheap vitamin mineral supplement doesn't cut it. You'll also need probiotics, enzymes, antioxidants, and other nutrients. And by the time it's all said and done, you're buying 5 bottles of product and spending $150 a month. And if this is a situation you've experienced, then you need to know about Whole Food Multi-Complete. For 15 years, Whole Food Multi-Complete has been quietly providing what the big guys won't, the perfect blend of 7 supplements in a single product. They've taken the expense and complexity out of following a complete supplement program. Visit simplifymysupplements.com to learn more, and you can enter coupon code FTL and get 10% off of your order every time you order. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. That's simplifymysupplements.com. As we go to more of your calls and thoughts, we can talk more about so-called risk assessment here, which is basically a government program that essentially justifies longer prison sentences to people who have backgrounds that are similar. So it doesn't matter whether, it was an accident, whatever the crime was that was committed, you deserve a higher sentence because you are of a certain color and from a certain neighborhood, or your parents went to prison, or whatever these different factors are. We'll tell you more about that coming up here. But Libertarian Banker is on the line with us here, calling from somewhere in the United States. Go ahead, Banker. Hello, Libertarian Banker.
NPR did a podcast or some show about a story about this.
Okay.
And when I was listening to it, they sounded rather excited about it, and I was kind of perplexed at it, quite like you guys are. And this is something that the government's come in and told banks that they can't do something really similar to this back in the 60s and 70s with the Federal Housing Administration and the Fair Lending Act. It's a practice called redlining. That's where banks would basically, take a map out and draw a red line all the way around the bad zip codes, and they'd say, hey, this is where we don't want to do any lending in these areas. And this is just it's just funny to me that this is the same thing that they wanted to prevent banks from doing. Now they're doing
it themselves. Yeah, it's a great point.
Absolutely.
So, well, see, the difference is the banks are private institutions, and the governments, they're governments. So it's one set of rules for you and another set of rules for us because we're exempt from all of the rules that we apply to you.
Exactly. And you know what I was researching while I was on the phone here. This algorithm, it is made by a for-profit company, kind of like your FICO score, which is made by Fair Isaac's company. So it's a private company that has made and sold this algorithm to different counties all around. So, from what I understand. So do they actually take into account the zip code or where the person is physically from? Did they say that in the article you were seeing?
Mm-hmm.
I believe they mentioned that in here earlier. I mean, I'd have to see if I can find that again.
Okay.
I've got a news story, Libertarian Banker. I've got a news story from a couple of weeks ago where Chicago has implemented some of this in one particular district in the city, one particular police district. And, they're definitely targeting an area. Now, they don't say what all factors they take into consideration, but they're definitely targeting what they consider to be high crime areas. And again, these crimes could just be, you're possessing a plant we don't want you to have.
Well, and I think about the way that the credit bureaus work and your credit score, and this is kind of a little bit like that in a way because I think it kind of spits out a score, like a risk score. And
between 0 and 500.
Exactly. Yeah, and a lot of these there are so many factors that go into the algorithm for your credit score, and there can be so many mistakes on your credit report. I mean, there's probably half the credit reports out there I see are there mistakes all over them. And so I wonder, is there any sort of process to go through to clear up mistakes or data that might be wrong?
No, I mean, how would you even know as somebody who's being sentenced? Are they going to present you with, well, here was your score, son. We're sorry, but you're going to have to go into solitary now or whatever. Like, do they actually let you know?
It's one of those things, kind of like if you're on the no-fly list, you don't know until you try to get on an airplane and they're like, sorry. Yeah. But your name's on this secret list that we don't let anybody know about.
Yeah, and anytime you let the government take control of anything, they're not gonna have any competition, any way to let people choose the kind of stuff that they want reported on them. And it's ridiculous. you ask me.
Yeah, it's really Orwellian, really scary stuff here. Thank you for the call tonight, Libertarian Banker. I appreciate it. Let's go to Stefan. He's in Ohio on Skype. Go ahead, Stefan.
Hey, Ian, I heard you've been enjoying Night Trap on the PC.
Yes, that's a bit of a different topic, but yeah, classic.
What is Night Trap?
Classic video game. One of the two games back in the 1990s, early 90s, that actually Joe, what's his name?
Arpaio?
No, Joe. What now?
Lieberman?
Yeah, Lieberman. That guy. Joe Lieberman kind of made a name for himself by attacking the video game industry back in the day over video game violence.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And Night Trap was one of the two games. It was Mortal Kombat, which everybody knows, and then Night Trap, which was essentially kind of like a B-movie horror game.
Okay.
It barely qualifies as a game as far as there's not much gameplay, but it's basically a cheesy B-movie about girls who are getting kidnapped inside like a very rich house. The family is vampires, and they like have a system of traps in their house that they've set up to capture teenagers and then suck their blood out. And you have to go around this house and you watch a series of video feeds that's happening supposedly in real time, and your job is to protect the girls who are in the house at that time from these monsters that are these vampires that are trying to get at them. It's a very, very cheesy, very, very fun game, and you're talking about it, Stefan, because it just came back after 25 years. It was originally PC. Yeah, it's back on PC and PlayStation 4. And this is a game that came out in 1992 on what was then called the Sega CD, which was a CD-ROM add-on for the Sega Genesis, which ultimately didn't really sell particularly well. But this particular game was so controversial because, well, I mean, it was one of the first games to actually have like real video in it instead of just like Mario-looking characters. Right?
Okay.
So like there were human beings in this game. There was not just fantasy violence, right, but like with cartoon characters on screen, but real violence, or at least what looked like real violence.
Right.
Being there was never a girl in the shower. That didn't happen in that game. There was a girl in the bathroom in like a nightie. But that's about as sexy as the game gets. And back in 1992,
I never said she was naked.
Huh?
I'm talking about the kill scene where the guy comes in with like the thing that he sticks in the girl's neck.
Yeah, well, it still wasn't in a shower, but regardless, I don't know if that's why you were calling tonight, Stefan. If you had something else, you can hang on. We'll come back to you here in moments. But it's back after 25 years, and it's actually probably better now than it's ever been because they like redid the video transfer, and it looks pretty nice. And it's on Steam and on PC and also PlayStation 4. And I think they're going to do Xbox, if not already have done it. More coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
If there's a toxic chemical, biological, gas, smoke emergency while traveling at home or on your job, are you protected? Are you prepared? There are over 400,000 fires in the USA every year. Up to 85% of all deaths in a fire are due to smoke inhalation. 3 minutes without air, and we as humans will die. Be prepared and escape safely with our Safe Escape Smoke Hoods, giving you up to 60 minutes of breathable air protection. Order yours online at ase-safety.com. That's ase-safety.com. And get up to 40% off plus free shipping.
Tyler, time to go for our family walk.
Just let me nap a little longer.
You promised we'd get more active.
I know. How come you're so ready to go?
It's Superberry's Aronia berries.
Aronia what?
Aronia berries from superberries.com. They're known for having one of the highest levels of antioxidants that helps with overall wellness.
Where'd you get them?
I ordered them from superberries.com/radio, and right now we can get a free smoothie recipe book with our order. Plus, we can save $4 at checkout.
I can't wait to try them. I'll get the dog.
I'll get the kids.
Choose health. Eat purple. Superberries.com.
Free Talk Live.
The DEA doesn't dabble with users. They go after the big dogs.
Yeah, I'm certain they have dabbled with users, and they would if they thought they could get
DEA?
something. They would if they thought they could get somewhere with it.
Maybe a user who's snorting 3 pounds a week, something where they could actually connect to a player.
Yeah.
But most users are just buying from other users. I mean, in the cocaine world, when you are a user, you've got to support your habit somehow.
Right.
And if you're not willing to go and knock over convenience stores and break into people's cars and hurt people to get the cash for your habit, then the only other choice for you, if you're not wealthy, is to sell cocaine to others.
Right.
And so most people will go and pick up whatever amount of coke they do, and then they'll sell to certain specific people who are their friends. Like he was saying, he was selling to his neighbor across the street. The DEA is not going to mess with that.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free and join us on the radio waves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, so Skype on in. Skype username is LRN.FM. In the studio tonight with you, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Darryl.
We got more to say on the way about risk prediction, which is an interesting article over at the Prison Legal News asking whether it is real criminal justice reform or junk science that's actually hurting people unnecessarily with more severe prison sentences. Let's go back to your phone calls and thoughts, though. Also, do want to let you know you can sign up for the Free Talk Live email list. You get one email per week, typically, keeping you in the loop with what's going on with the show. Just go to freetalklive.com. You'll find our email sign-up box right there on the front page of the site, kind of in the middle of the front page toward the top there. You'll see it there. It's free, just like everything else is, over at freetalklive.com. Let's go back to Stefan. He's in Ohio, and Stefan, you're back on Free Talk Live. Now, were you just calling about the reissue, the 25-year anniversary reissue of the game, the classic video game Night Trap, or was there another purpose to your call?
I was going to ask if you guys had actually gotten to see the Eclipse up in New Hampshire. Was it even visible up there at all?
Actually, I did by total accident. What was it, 60% or something like that?
Was supposed to have been 60%. I was trying to watch a reflection on like a car window, hoping to see some kind of blockage, and I just
too bright
kept
to look
seeing. No, I was looking at the window, the reflection on a window through like a piece of cloth.
I see. Okay.
But still, I was seeing just a complete circle the entire time.
So I wasn't planning to do anything about it, but then one of our neighbors came over, and he just so happened to have some fancy glasses. Like, I guess he got them from the library. Apparently, the library had ordered a bunch of them for like keeping there, but it was almost over. So he asked them if he could take a pair, and they let him have one.
Okay.
So he brought this pair, just happened to just randomly come up on the porch and offered them to me. So I was able to see kind of like, I don't know, 30% or something like that. And
now I will say that I watched
40%.
some of NASA's live feed. So I saw 4 different versions of the totality.
I see.
Online. Which, it's not the same as watching it in person. But I'm much more fascinated by the lunar eclipses just because that's something you can look at the entire time.
I see.
And you don't need special eyewear to look at the moon.
Right.
My method of viewing it was kind of ridiculous.
And what was that?
I thought a good idea would be to cut a hole in the end of a box and put an old Kodak camera at the end of it and cover it with tinfoil to make sure everything just reflected off instead of going into my eyes. And I messed with the exposure, and I ended up just laying on the sidewalk and watching it that way because we got 80% coverage over here.
Okay.
Now, in 7 years, actually about 6.5 years, there's another total solar eclipse. And that's going to pass almost directly over where we are.
Okay.
So in Keene, I think we're supposed to have 96, 97% coverage in that 2024 eclipse.
It is interesting how crazy everybody gets about this. I mean, it's...
it's fascinating astrological events. They don't happen that often.
If you're an adult, it just seems like, oh, I'm just going to go buy these special glasses that I can use once every 30 years. Why?
Because it's an interesting astrological event that doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, but is it
it's
that
not interesting? We know exactly how it happens.
Right, we know what
that
it looks
makes it
like.
Not interesting anymore.
Right. We know what it looks like. We know how often it happens.
Okay.
We know where it happens.
Car crashes happen all the time too, but if one happens, you're still going to slow down and look at it.
Well, you should slow down because that's safer.
Yeah, that's true.
Staring at an eclipse
something.
does not make you safer.
Hey, if you stare at the eclipse, you can make a pretty good disability claim the next day.
Could you?
No, you can't.
It was a meme I saw floating around today.
Gotcha.
I was just glad I didn't have to drive during it because even if I knew it was going to be dark and not to stare at the sky, I didn't trust everybody else to know both those
the
things.
DOT actually put out a list of guidelines for, hey, reminder, if you're driving, don't stare at the sun, don't wear eclipse glasses while driving.
And this was entirely necessary.
Don't stop in the middle of the interstate to stare at the sun.
Oh, God.
I wonder how many people are gonna have serious vision damage tomorrow.
I don't know. How long does it take to actually figure it out? Because they say that
not that long.
Okay.
If you're staring at the sun without eye protection, whether there's an eclipse or not, it doesn't take long to damage your eyes.
Yeah. Right.
It's funny because last week I had an appointment with my eye doctor here in town, and he told me he always dreads the day after an eclipse because back in 1995 when we had one pass over here, he apparently had an influx of people the next day reporting they had white spots all over their eyes.
Oh, God. That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
All right, Stefan, thanks for the call
insight.
tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. So, okay, yeah, I guess it's kind of cool because it doesn't happen very often.
Most people at work anyway. It was 2 o'clock. I was at work.
Basically, up here it was not as sunny as it normally would be. It was still daylight. It was still plenty bright outside, but not as bright.
What I did find funny, though, I looked at the little weather app thing on my phone, and during the time the eclipse was, it said partially sunny, and I thought that was funny.
Yeah, not that funny.
Because it was half an eclipse. Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Anyway, toll-free number if you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. So I put the glasses on, looked up at it for a second or two, and that was it.
Do you still have the glasses?
There's not much else to see. They weren't mine. It was the neighbor who brought them over. So, toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE. We were talking about risk prediction and this, theory, this idea, this so-called scientific method that they have where some kind of program runs a bunch of numbers based on things like age, gender, criminal record, educational background, and even the individual's history of arrests, not just their convictions, but arrests. They look at all that information and probably some other stuff and determine whether or not somebody should get a more serious sentence when they're being convicted and sentenced at criminal court. In one of the jurisdictions, or across the country, according to Prison Legal News, at least 19 standardized risk predictors are used to assess an offender's likelihood of recidivism, as well as another 47 designed specifically for certain jurisdictions in 37 states. And one of those jurisdictions is Philadelphia, where APPD, which is the Adult Probation and Parole Department, has been using risk predictors developed by University of Pennsylvania statistician Richard Burke since 2009. Burke's risk predictor incorporates what's called machine learning, a statistical discipline that he believes is more advanced than most prediction tools because it allows a computer program to sort through a large amount of data and then decide which factors matter and to what extent. His program, he argues, is more accurate than other risk predictors because it can distinguish, for example, between nonviolent and violent crimes in an offender's prior history. When Philadelphia's APPD adopted the program, the department supervised about 50,000 people with just 275 case officers.
Now, let me ask this question, and it's somewhat rhetorical because I'm fairly certain the article doesn't go into this. Does it classify a violation of probation as, necessarily, victimless or violent? Because, there are a variety of reasons why someone could violate probation. There are a variety of reasons why someone would even be on probation, and most of those reasons are not for violent crimes.
Well, so if you violate your probation because you went out and robbed a bank and stabbed 5 people, that's going to actually show up on your record as a violent crime conviction, whereas if you violated probation because you drank and they told you not to, I think
that's just going to be a BOP.
I think that's going to do a pretty good job of self-filtering or self-distinguishing itself if that jurisdiction is even remotely competent.
Right, but they're still going to be like, oh, well, you've got an additional conviction.
We'll
VOP.
Continue. There's more about so-called risk prediction. We don't know exactly how these things work, and that's part of the scary part.
Right.
How can you really make a decision about something if you don't understand it? It's Free Talk Live.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews, here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees, no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up, too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days, free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait on account. Now. Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got the AMP program. It stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. You, if you want to get behind Free Talk Live and help us do what we do here, spread the ideas of liberty and peace and cryptocurrency and things like that. If you like what we're up to and you want to help support the show, $5 a month is all that we ask, and you get some cool perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcast, the AMP-only Facebook group, and more. Get all the details and get signed up with any major credit card as well as PayPal and Bitcoin over at amp.freetalklive.com. With you tonight, you've got Ian.
Melanie.
And Darryl.
We're talking about so-called risk prediction and what police departments around the country and courts are starting to utilize to determine in court whether or not an individual should receive a harsher sentence simply based on certain factors in their past. Not necessarily their own actions, but things like their age, gender, their criminal record, educational background, and even the history of their arrests, not just convictions. Could also have to do with whether their family or parents spent any time in prison as well.
And now I've pulled up an article from The Atlantic that it's not, about this particular thing. They're talking here about some of the programs that Homeland Security has implemented over the last decade or so.
Like the no-fly list, that kind of thing?
No, specifically they're talking about things like the FAST program. I forget what FAST is an acronym for.
Yeah,
but
it sounds familiar.
Like one of the secure traveler sort of thing, the trusted traveler. And they talk here about what's called a false positive paradox, to where based on some of these varying factors of, age, history, socioeconomic brackets, etc., you're going to wind up capturing a lot of people that aren't your target for every one person that is your target.
That's not good.
Yeah, so you wind up, a lot of false positives, but yet, look at how many people we're stopping and blah, blah, blah. And so now it's spreading and, municipalities are using various things. Well, the Reuters article that I referenced earlier They list Philadelphia, San Francisco, Milwaukee, Denver, Tacoma, Lincoln, Nebraska, Chicago. Like these are all fairly sizable cities that are using these, pre-crime detection things.
It's scary stuff because it flies in the face of what, and I don't know who it was that was famous for the statement. It might ring a bell with you, Melanie. The statement is something I'm paraphrasing, something to the effect of, I'd rather see 100 guilty men go free than one innocent man go to prison. And that was sort of like the idea was, you had to prove your case. You had to have evidence. You had to make sure that you were getting the right guy, because it would be a true tragedy if, and of course we know this happens all the time today, innocent men and women are sent to prison. Yeah. That's horrible. It's easy for somebody who is like the law and order type out there to dismiss a statement like that. Well, we got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. Who cares if a couple innocent people go to prison, as long as we can put hundreds of guilty people in there, as long as it's not their own son or whatever, as long as it's not their own child or, lover or whatever.
Those, crack a few eggs sort of, law and order people will also look at the statistic of, 90+% of people wind up taking a plea, which means they must be guilty. Who would say I'm guilty when they didn't do it?
Almost everyone.
The system works because these people are pleading guilty.
People who sat in jail longer than they can be sentenced for waiting for a trial.
Yeah,
those people would take a plea to, go home and...
Yep. Almost everybody will take a plea.
The people like Derek J., former co-host, that was facing, 9 years in prison?
Something like that.
And they offered a plea of, all right, so we'll do 540 days, most of it suspended, and, just be a good boy for a couple of years. And he was like, all right.
Yep, he took the deal.
Or to avoid a felony, if it's something where there's a misdemeanor and a felony version, just to keep, a lot of your other rights intact.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this has nothing to do with evidence. That's just a ridiculous conclusion to get from that fact.
No doubt. And this risk prediction is barely evidence, and it's just putting people in
that's not barely
groups.
evidence. That's just random BS.
Yeah.
You're sentencing a demographic instead of a person.
Yeah, and I think that sounds just super unconstitutional, but nonetheless, they're doing it. According to Prison Legal News, when the Philadelphia Adult Probation and Parole Department, the APPD, adopted the program, or one of this, he's a statistical statistician from Pennsylvania's University of Pennsylvania's name is Richard Burke, and he's been working on these so-called risk prediction programs since 2009. They adopted his program. At the time, they had about 50,000 supervised people in their department with just 275 case officers. Cases were randomly assigned to the officers regardless of the offender's profile or criminal history, and it was up to the officers to decide how to supervise offenders at risk of committing more crimes, particularly violent crimes. Community supervision was at that time, according to Kurtz, quote, all-intuitive, gut-based decision-making, unquote, and it failed miserably. But Burke's method, which sorts offenders into categories of high, medium, and low risk, has seemingly reversed those outcomes. Case officers now supervise a set of offenders based exclusively on their level of risk, requiring high-risk offenders to be under more intense supervision and allowing low-risk offenders to check in less often. Before fully adopting the system, they tested its potential and found that with less time devoted to low-risk offenders, case officers were able to oversee more people. Arrests for serious charges decreased, if only slightly. To lessen the burden on the bureaucrats, you mean?
Well, because if I only need one PO, last week I needed one PO to supervise 20 slaves, and now this week I only need one PO to supervise 80 slaves, I make more money.
How does that make you more money as a government manager?
Because you're not paying for probation officers?
Isn't free.
They're not going to fire those officers, though, right?
No, they're going to arrest more people and collect more fees.
Oh, okay. There you go. Now that makes more sense from their perspective. So arrests for serious charges decreased, if only slightly, and since fully implementing the Risk Predictor program, recidivism, that is violent recidivism in particular, has fallen, making Burke's once controversial method a success. Some states have been using risk prediction in other stages of the criminal justice system besides community supervision. Kentucky, for example, uses a risk assessment program developed by the nonprofit Arnold Foundation to determine bail for adult offenders. Though the results have not been overwhelming, the state has released more pretrial defendants and rearrested fewer of them. In Florida, probation officers and judges use a predictor called the Positive Achievement Change Tool, PACT, to help determine everything from supervision to sentencing on a limited basis for juvenile offenders. A 2014 state report claims that juveniles who were assessed through PACT before their sentencing were half as likely to reoffend within 12 months as those who were not. Arizona has been using its own risk assessment suite for several years, utilizing probation officers to meet with offenders, analyze their criminal records, and then submit a pre-sentence report to judges. But like the system employed in Virginia, where that state's use of risk predictors was challenged by the ACLU as unconstitutional, judges in Arizona often disregard pre-sentence reports as they are not required to consider their findings. And that's what makes Pennsylvania's risk prediction initiative unprecedented. With the exception of a few minor offenses and misdemeanors, evidence-based sentencing will be used in nearly every type of crime in almost every courtroom in the state. So this is the first time this has ever happened at the level they're doing it in Pennsylvania. Based on a sneak peek at the methodology, the application of risk prediction in Pennsylvania's courtrooms will look something like this. A judge will use a chart that places a defendant into low, moderate, or high-risk categories based on a point total that maxes out at 13. If the defendant has an extensive prior criminal history, for example, which is considered by experts to be the greatest predictor of recidivism, he or she would be assessed up to 4 points. Being male is worth another point. If the defendant lives in an urban rather than rural county, that is yet another point. Such a hypothetical defendant would already have nearly a 50% risk score to commit more crimes. And that's before factoring in characteristics that many, including former U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder, feel should not be considered when determining the amount of time an offender spends behind bars. Quote, by basing sentencing decisions on static factors and immutable characteristics like the defendant's education level, socioeconomic background, or neighborhood, so there's the area that we were that our caller earlier was asking about.
Yep.
Holder said in his 2014 speech to the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, quote, the use of risk predictors may exacerbate unwarranted and unjust disparities that are already far too common in our criminal justice system and in our society.
So in other words, we're not practicing racial discrimination here. We've got a computer that tells us where to
yeah, the computer tells us
guy.
where the black people are, and then we go where the computer sends
right,
us.
A computer can't be racist, can it? Toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Oh yeah, wait, computers are programmed by
people,
humans.
racist people.
All right, some more coming up here in moments. 855-450-FREE. You can share your thoughts with us, whether it's risk prediction or whatever you want to talk about. It's Free Talk Live.
Have you ever thought about mining Bitcoin? Did the costs, constant equipment upgrades, and maintenance scare you off? Do you want to make Bitcoin every day in the same mining pool that Ian and I do? Pool.bitcoin.com. There's a 100% uptime guarantee. The website's easy to use, and you can calculate what you're going to make right there on the website at pool.bitcoin.com. Help steer Bitcoin towards the liberating currency that Satoshi Nakamoto meant it to be. I'm not just making money at pool.bitcoin.com. I'm doing activism while I sleep. Pool.bitcoin.com.
Ooh, get the stinky dog away from me. DINOVITE.com.
Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of NomoFlea free.
NomoFlea flea spray kills fleas safely with no poison.
Because it's a polypeptide protein molecule made from
vegetable oil.
Try NomoFlea.
Free this week at Dinovite.com.
Everything we tried failed except the Dinovite. DINOVITE.com.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, August 21st, 2017. Silver's trading at $17.06 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,288 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.5 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,053. Antiwar.com reports North Korea's state media warned on Sunday that the joint war games in South Korea, scheduled to begin on Monday, are adding fuel to the fire of an already tense situation between North Korea and the United States, warning against further reckless behavior. The statement expressed particular concern that the drill would evolve into actual fighting, warning that this could quickly lead to a nuclear war and that the U.S. should not hold on to the fantasy that they can securely have a war at someone else's door. U.S. officials note this particular war game is purely defensive in nature, which is actually true. The spring war game simulates invading North Korea, while this much smaller war game simulates defending against a North Korean invasion. The timing of the annual exercise is coincidental, but still very provocative, given that not so long ago there was a very serious concern about the U.S. attacking North Korea, and despite assurances from the administration that nuclear war is not imminent, it still appears concerningly dangerous that one side or the other will misstep and start a massive war. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports Joe's Crab Shack, the chain of beach-themed seafood restaurants, has closed at least 40 locations as the company undergoes a bankruptcy and sale. Consumerists confirmed the location closings from readers and calls to the Crab Shack. 7 of the closings are in Texas, the state where the company's owner is based in Houston. The companion brand, Brick House Tavern Plus Tapped, closed 2 locations. The company's website now lists 72 Joe's Crab Shacks and 23 Brick Houses. Locations began closing without warning to employees or the public the week of August 7th. One Brickhouse Tavern server said, "We got an email for a last-minute conference call Tuesday morning, August 8th, that lasted less than 5 minutes, stating that we would not be opening the restaurant effective immediately and that it was permanently closed." A worker in Indiana told consumers they heard the parent company only wants 60 Joe's Crab Shack locations to remain open. Joe's Crab Shack owner, Ignite Restaurant Group, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection on June 6th in Houston. Landry's, whose brands include Bubba Gump Shrimp Company, Morton's Steakhouse, and Rainforest Cafe, won a bankruptcy auction in August for $57 million for just the Crab Shack brand. A federal judge approved the deal. In 1994, Landry's founder, Tillman Fertitta, bought the original Joe's Crab Shack, which opened in 1991, and spun off the Joe's and Brickhouse brands to J.H. Whitney & Company in 2006. It went public in 2009 and then became Ignite Restaurant Group. Earlier, Ignite said it had entered a $60 million sale agreement with KRG Acquisitions Company, LLC, for both brands. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke will recommend on August 24th whether to eliminate or shrink nearly 24 national monuments, creating the first major test for a 111-year-old law that gives presidents the power to protect swaths of public land. Zinke is expected to recommend that at least some of the national monuments under review, which were all created since 1996, be rescinded or shrunk in size. Any recommendation of reduction could herald a move into uncharted territory. Under the Antiquities Act, a president can declare certain areas of historic or scientific interest to be a national monument. However, no president has ever revoked a previous designation. Previous presidents, including Woodrow Wilson and William Howard Taft, did reduce the size of some existing monuments. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Months after identifying the elusive Higgs boson particle, scientists at CERN in Geneva, Switzerland have announced that they've completely run out of things to do with their Large Hadron Collider.
We've tried some time travel stuff, but it doesn't really work. Black holes, but we already know like a ton about those. Last week, we threw a bird in there. Honestly, we thought it would take way longer to find the Higgs boson.
Director General of CERN, Rolf Dieter Hauer, told reporters that while they, quote, might be able to figure out some more about quarks or something, for the most part, his team has spent much of the past year throwing pennies into the machine and turning it on to see if the pennies come out smushed.
We might just start building a larger hadron collider. Yeah, maybe a bigger collider for smaller hadrons or something. I don't know.
CERN has announced on their website that if anyone out there has any fun ideas for experiments, you can email them to ideas@largehadroncollider.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free. Join us here on the radio. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian,
Melanie,
and Darryl.
For those of you just tuning in, we're talking about a disturbing trend that is getting more prolific across various different state governments. It's called risk prediction. And it has been going on, according to the article at Prison Legal News, for nearly 100 years, at some level or another within the criminal justice system. But in 2015, Pennsylvania officials indicated the state would be the first in the nation to mandate widespread use of these risk predictors to determine how much time defendants should spend behind bars. So other states have been using them for other things like probation assessments and things like that. In this case, they're going to be bringing these risk predictors in to consider the person's, where they came from, the neighborhood, their color of their skin, their gender, criminal record, educational background, even their history of arrests, according to Prison Legal News. Not convictions, but arrests. So, it's not hard for a cop to just arrest you for some crap. If they drop the charges later, you still have the arrest record, even though you didn't commit the act or whatever.
Right.
So another factor in Pennsylvania's Commission on Sentencing that they plan to include in their risk predictor program is perhaps its most controversial, and that is the defendant's history of arrests. As public defenders throughout the state have pointed out to the commission, arrest rates are even more racially skewed than convictions. Based on the same type of statistical generalizations used in risk prediction, data shows that men without a high school education or who are single or unemployed are more likely to be black or Hispanic and live in low-income neighborhoods. This is a compounding problem, said Bradley Bridge, who's an attorney with the Defender Association of Philadelphia, which has argued that factoring a defendant's arrest history into sentencing decisions may be unconstitutional. What do you think about that, Melanie? You went to law school.
As far as settled case law, I don't think there is any, and I remember looking a while back. But yeah, that's you can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, could you possibly bring up arrests in courtroom in front of a jury if that person was never convicted of those arrests?
You usually can't even bring up convictions unless...
Really?
Sometimes you can, but it's weird.
A lot of time, depending on the charges, and I've seen them do it to where objection, relevance, well, it speaks to his character.
But then you have to get
Ross
his
Ulbricht.
But then you have to get his character into issue in the first place.
With Ross Ulbricht, the prosecution mentioned things that he was not even officially charged with.
That's true. And they got away with it.
Allowed.
Well,
That's right.
And there's a reason why Ross Ulbricht's case was appealed as much as it was, and he
Which
was
they failed
famous,
at.
so they were going to stick him with whatever they wanted to stick him with. Normal, everyday cases, really different stuff goes on than, hey, we hate this guy. Let's, prove a point. Those are really two different things.
Mark Bergstrom, the executive director of Pennsylvania's Commission on Sentencing, noted he's listening to concerns like Bridges, as well as from others who have spoken out at public hearings across the state. While he contends that according to research, prior arrests more accurately predict recidivism than prior convictions, he knows that using arrests as a factor in the state's risk predictor will be challenged in court, something the commission wants to avoid. And while risk assessments are mandated to be used in nearly every criminal case in the state now, Bergstrom wants them to be applicable in a limited way to identify low-risk defendants who would benefit by avoiding prison altogether and high-risk defendants to be considered for longer sentences or more intense treatment.
Yeah, to support the existing caste system.
Mm-hmm.
Because, okay, if life didn't like you in the first place, if your parents were in prison, if you live in a low-income neighborhood...
Here, have an extra 5 years.
All these things you have no control over... Well, we need to send you to jail, not because you committed the same crime as the rich kid, but because we don't like you.
Pretty much. Quote, while risk assessment tools and evidence-based research and practices are a vital part of criminal justice reform efforts, they do not absolve us of our moral responsibility as a country, said the founder and director of Just Leadership USA for truthout.org. Quote, couching reform in risk offers the kind of cowardly political out that makes it easy to bury the faces and ignore the stories of people, families, and entire communities whose lives have been devastated by prison time. Martin continued saying, quote, what risk assessment tools can't measure is the power of redemption, a human capacity that belongs to people who have committed all sorts of crimes, including murder. Are we so morally bankrupt that we do not believe that people have the capacity to change? We've reduced human beings saddled with criminal convictions to statistical probabilities, unquote.
And most of these stats are exactly backwards of what would make sense. So if two people commit the exact same crime and one of them is from a low-income neighborhood, their parents are absentee or in prison or whatever, they have all the other stats that they have no control over, and they do a thing that, say they steal something versus a kid from the suburbs who thought it'd be funny to steal something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, which one of those people is really worse? Like, they're both wrong.
Sure.
But if I find out somebody stole $20 from me because they really needed the food and they're not legally allowed to work yet, maybe because they're 16 or something,
sure,
versus somebody who has 7 iPhones and thought it'd be funny, I'm gonna deal with those people differently.
But the statistical risk prediction would say that the guy...
And the state's going to deal with it the opposite way because they're the state.
Right. Further, while risk assessments here may be effective in forecasting recidivism, they don't have the capacity to actually prevent it. Risk predictors help to identify offenders who are more likely to commit future crimes, but do nothing to change the circumstances of those who feel desperate enough to engage in criminal behavior in the first place. Quote, America won't solve its prison crisis using the same logic used to construct those prisons, said Martin. He said further, in the name of reform, we have settled on an automated and mechanical solution to a bizarre and inhumane system, weighing each individual life using factors that excuse us of our responsibility to those lives. This guy's got some really important things to say about this. Kudos to him. There's some evidence that supports such criticism. In May of 2016, ProPublica issued a report claiming that risk prediction calculations made by Compass, an assessment tool produced by Michigan-based company Northpoint, often show a racial bias, handing down harsher...
Well, yeah, that's what they're designed to do.
Right. Handing down harsher scores to blacks than to whites. Northpoint has disputed ProPublica's findings as being misleading. Also, as reported by TCF.org in August of 2016, some critics have raised concerns relating to public transparency and the proprietary algorithms employed by risk prediction programs.
Oh, the sentencing structure is a secret now. That's not how laws work in the U.S., by the way. You can't have secret laws.
We're sorry.
Well, they have secret courts. Why the hell can't they have secret laws and secret formulas?
Yeah, we're sorry.
They're not supposed to do that
This
either.
is a private company that made this software. We don't know how they calculate this stuff. We can't just let you have access to their code. Copyright. Haven't you heard of, intellectual property?
Yeah, but I've also heard of open source software.
Well, that would cost a lot less if they actually used open source software. Instead, I'm sure they're paying big money to these companies.
But then that would allow everybody to know exactly what we're doing. It would be like if we declassified all of the information.
It'd be like if we actually had transparency in government. For example, TCF.org reported that a journalist filed public records requests in all 50 states seeking information as to how, quote, criminal justice risk assessment forms were developed or evaluated, unquote. The reporter received, guess how many records from any of the public agencies in all 50 states for their request?
I'm guessing you could count them on two hands.
You could count 0. They received no records from any of the public agencies regarding how these forms are developed or evaluated.
Yep, you can count 0 on two hands if you
make
fold them like this and make a big giant 0.
There's a little bit more here, and I think this is pretty important information. This is starting in in Pennsylvania, and it's going to be in pretty much every criminal case. And this started as of 2015 is when they decided that this would happen. I don't know how fully implemented it is yet at this point, but if it's happening there's a very good chance that other state agencies are looking closely at this program to see if it gets challenged, how it holds up, because they'll probably want to do it where they are and where you are.
For P150, P150GA, P150NY, P150OK, P150TN, C250A, C250E, C250Q. Not available in all states. If New York or Colorado, call for a similar offer.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $100, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, call Physicians Mutual Insurance Company, 1-800-972-1059. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away, so you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road. Fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired. There are no networks, so you can choose any dentist you'd like. Call now for a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-972-1059. That's 1-800-972-1059. 1-800-972-1059.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment walking down the street to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Here we go. Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free and join us right here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We got some justice system related news and opinion that we're talking about here tonight. Coming up, a judge shot outside of a courthouse. Apparently the judge also shot back. Melanie's got that story on the way. Also, Darryl, you'll be telling us about judges who are allowing into court as evidence what is generally considered to be disavowed science. And we'll talk about what that means. Apparently I didn't unmute your mic. We'll do that here in moments. You can bring up anything you want. We've been getting into what is risk prediction and how is it being used now in Pennsylvania, where as of 2015, there, according to the really detailed article over at Prison Legal News, 2015, Pennsylvania officials made the state the first in the nation to mandate widespread use of risk predictors to determine how much time defendants should spend behind bars during sentencing. And that means that they'll be looking at all kinds of factors that really don't have a whole lot to do with the individual and more to do with like where they're from, what their gender is, the color of their skin, and
you mean things that they have no control over.
Exactly, as well as the amount of arrests they have, not just convictions, but arrests. So there's a little bit more here from Prison Legal News, and it points out that so again, a reporter asked for records from all 50 states, trying to find out how these criminal or justice risk assessment forms were developed or evaluated. And as we pointed out earlier, guess what? These companies that the states are hiring to create software for them, the companies their algorithms are proprietary.
And so the state is outsourcing sentencing to a private software company.
Yes, that's right.
In a lot of cases, the states are also outsourcing the overseeing of probation, the collection of fines, and other things. So it doesn't really, surprise me that they're outsourcing this.
Well, right, and they'll usually rent out the slaves basically to private entities, but they don't usually let private entities actually perform the trial.
Oh, well, they're not performing the
That's
trial.
Part of the trial.
They're just, allowing them to...
They're giving the judge the most important
help
information.
with the sentencing. And...
Yeah.
They don't even usually allow juries to sentence people.
That's true.
And the fact that, in a lot of states there are these private prisons, and the private prisons have, as part of their contract, guarantees over occupancy rates.
They do.
It kind of makes sense that, some private company would start helping with the sentencing.
Yes.
And that's, by no means an endorsement of this horrible practice. I'm just saying it's not surprising.
Yes, its risk assessments have a direct impact on people's lives. It's important to understand how they work. And apparently many risk prediction systems don't necessarily work very well. As reported by Washington State Spokesman Review in January of 2017, city and county jails in Spokane began using a risk predictor called the Spokane Assessment for Evaluation of Risk, or SAFER, to determine which pretrial detainees should be released in lieu of bond. According to the newspaper, SAFER was developed by Washington State University criminal justice professor Zach Hamilton, who had aggregated data from more than 13,000 Spokane County criminal cases.
Don't you just love how they come up with these backronyms, basically, to where they're like, all right, let's come up with a word that sounds really good, and then we'll figure out
what
things to make the letters stand for.
You know that's what they're doing. That's totally what they're doing.
Bearcats. Right. They sound so cute and cuddly, right? It's a armored vehicle.
Bear cat sound cute and cuddly. It's a bear.
No, it's a cat.
And a bear.
It's a bear cat, though. It's a bear. It's going to claw your face off by accident.
But a baby bear that's kind of like a cat.
Oh, so then the mom's going to come and just bite your face off.
Baby lions and baby tigers look cute and cuddly.
No, they look like they're going to kill you.
Is a bear more likely to claw your face off or claw your guts out?
I don't have any idea, but you're dead either way, so it really doesn't matter.
All right, there's a little bit more here. According to the newspaper, SAFER was developed by this university professor who aggregated a bunch of data from criminal cases in Spokane County. It was this use of local data as opposed to generalized national demographic data that Spokane County Criminal Justice Coordinator Jacqueline Van Warmer claimed was responsible for SAFER's superior performance. As quoted by the Spokesman Review, Van Warmer said the SAFER risk assessment tool was accurate in around 70% of its predictions, whereas other systems employed by other agencies nationwide are accurate only 55 to 65% of the time, which means that even the so-called superior prediction
And it's kind
program,
of a yes-no answer. It's like, do you recidivize or not?
Yeah.
So you're accurate on a yes-no answer
That's
at a
it.
rate of 50%.
well, they claim 70%, but either way, that still means that
the average is 50.
Yeah,
Right, so it operates at the rate of chance, because if you have a 1 in 2 chance and you get it right 50% of the time.
Flipping a coin would be more accurate.
Well, indeed, as the article points out in the very last sentence here, it means that even the so-called superior risk prediction program used in Spokane County was inaccurate in 30% of cases, which is still a significant margin of error.
And then that's still after you alter your own results, because if you're like, oh, these people are going to recidivize, let's keep them in jail, and you keep them in jail, they can't go commit more crimes. So you're kind of feeding your own.
You can't compare A to B. You don't know what the other outcome would have been. Had you given the person a lower sentence, you don't know what that world would look like.
Right. And then there's also the question of, are they doing anything to actually quote unquote rehabilitate the person while they're serving this longer sentence, or is it just nope, you're being punished?
So they figured out that people who they make stay in jail longer have a harder time getting jobs. That's what this is, the conclusion they've reached.
Well, you worked as a corrections officer for a short period of time, Darryl, and you must remember some of the programs that they had available for the inmates there. I know that in my jail, when I was in for civil disobedience, they had a yoga program, and they had some kind of religious
the only
person.
Thing that I recall, they had church service on Sundays that was optional for people.
That was it?
That was it.
And they still probably call it the Department of Corrections, right? As though people are being corrected.
I think it was officially the House of Corrections.
The House
it might have been Department, but it's still, the word correction was in there somewhere.
Yeah, people are if they're getting corrected, then they shouldn't come back, but they come back.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in, there was a guy who was brought into the cell block, and as soon as the door closed behind him, he yells, "Honey, I'm home!" There was back.
There was one guy in particular that he was homeless, except for when he was serving some time.
Sure.
And he told me, when it starts getting colder, I do something that I know is going to get me 6 months.
Yep.
And then I've got a place to stay for the wintertime, and I get meals. There was another guy. He was in the work release program.
Yeah.
And, they don't let just anybody in the work release program.
It's true.
Well, no, you got to have productive slaves. Otherwise, you keep them warehoused.
But, this guy didn't have much time left on his sentence, not violent. One day, he just didn't show up. And I was actually working the control center, called my supervisor, and they were like, give us a call back in half an hour if he's still not here. They found him a week later, 7 miles down the road in a crack house.
And wait, so he was supposed to show up from his home to the jail for a work day?
He went to work.
Oh, okay.
He was supposed to come back from work.
Okay.
Didn't show up. They find him a week later in a crack house.
There's more on the way
That's
here.
work.
The toll-free number 855-450 free.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Is that Ellen painting her garage?
Yesterday she was trimming her hedges.
What's her secret?
I heard she was eating this new super berry called the aronia berry.
Aronia what?
Aronia berries from superberries.com. They're known for having one of the highest levels of antioxidants that helps with overall wellness.
Where can we get them?
Go to superberries.com/radio. And right now we get a free smoothie recipe book with our order. Plus we can save $4 at checkout.
I can't wait. I've got lots of projects I need to get done.
Yes, you do.
Choose health. Eat purple. Superberries.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Our toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. Tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Darryl.
You can mine Bitcoin or the new Bitcoin Cash at pool.bitcoin.com. You can forget about the costs, the constant equipment upgrades, the hassles, the maintenance. the fact that you have to have some pretty strong technical know-how to even get a miner started in the first place. You don't need to know any of that stuff to get mining over at pool.bitcoin.com. There's a 100% uptime guarantee. The website's easy to use. All you have to do is calculate what you could make with their online calculator tool. You decide what amount you want to put in as an investment, and then hopefully you're going to get something back out of it. Go to pool.bitcoin.com to learn more about it. I just recently switched my miner over at pool.bitcoin.com. I got one for a 6-month contract. Mark did one for a lifetime contract, which is a lifetime of the equipment, not your lifetime. And I flipped mine over to Bitcoin Cash the other day because Bitcoin Cash is more competitive. It is more profitable right now than the original Bitcoin. And we're starting to see some people make the flip over to Bitcoin Cash. It's been interesting to watch. You can decide for yourself which of those Bitcoins you want to mine, the original Bitcoin Core or the new Bitcoin Cash. It's up to you. Over at pool.bitcoin.com, that's pool.bitcoin.com. Of course, you can bring up anything you want. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. We've been talking about various different issues regarding the justice or the so-called justice system. Everything from risk prediction, now going into disavowed science. Science that, isn't really considered much of science anymore, right?
Correct. The story from the Associated Press. 2 hairs that looked like the victims, some dirt on a truck like that taken from the crime scene, a pattern on the bumper that resembled a design on the victim's popular brand of jeans. The case against Stephen Barnes and the rape and murder of a 16-year-old girl seemed circumstantial at best, so the guilty verdict shocked him. Barnes says, I was saying this can't be happening. You can't convict somebody on similarities, perhaps, or maybes. He spent the next 20 years in prison before DNA testing exonerated him, becoming one of the hundreds of people convicted in whole or in part on forensic sciences that have recently come under fire in the past decade.
Oh, no.
Some of that science, analysis of bite marks, latent fingerprints, firearms identification, burn patterns in arson investigations, footwear patterns, and even tire treads, was once considered sound, but is now being denounced by some lawyers and scientists who say it's not been studied enough to prove reliability.
And a lot of these things were never considered sound science by scientists in the first place. A lot of these things, there was never any studies, there was never anything that would pass for science done on a lot of these methods. What I used to tell people is that it's called the crime lab. It's not called the science lab. It's where they commit the crime of falsifying evidence.
Wow.
There's no science behind, casing matching, and there's science behind fingerprints, but they don't use it.
Huh. There's also science behind handwriting samples, but again, it's not used the way it should be used. The article continues, even so, judges nationwide continue to admit such evidence on a regular basis. Christopher Fabricant, director of strategic litigation for the Innocence Project, says courts, unlike scientists, rely too heavily on precedent and not enough on the progress of science. At some point, we have to acknowledge that precedent has to be overruled by scientific reality.
At what point, though? I mean, how long does it actually take for a scientific reality to bust through the old ways of a court system? I mean, because these guys are going on, like you said, the precedent in a case. They're going on the authority, if you will, this imaginary concept that is issued down from other judges, other men and women, fallible men and women in robes who've determined that this is an acceptable
who aren't
thing.
qualified to justify, who aren't
They're not
qualified
scientists.
to judge scientific methods anyway.
Right.
The article continues. Defense lawyers and civil rights advocates say that prosecutors and judges are slow to acknowledge that some forensic science methods are flawed because they're the very tools that they've been using for decades to win convictions.
Sure. How could we have been wrong this whole time?
And such evidence can be persuasive for jurors, many of whom have seen it used on Law & Order and CSI.
I was at a murder trial in Baton Rouge when I was in law school. And the human who was testifying from the crime lab, they were matching fingerprints, and she testified that she matched 4 markers or whatever they're called.
Okay.
And the defense attorney asked her, what is the standard for how many markers you're supposed to match? And she said 7. And he asked her, why didn't you use 7 then if that's like the standard for like your certifications and all that stuff?
She couldn't match 7.
And she said, I always match 4.
Oh, my God.
And he got convicted.
Wow.
That's like, one of the things, and I'm sure, both of you have seen the drawings where people will take, just like 5 randomly selected places, and they're like, oh my God, you can make a pentagram. Like, you can find 4
You could draw
markers.
a pentagram on top of any picture you want to if you're weird like that.
Right,
That
but,
doesn't mean anything.
There are so many things with fingerprint. You can find 4 things. Well, you can draw a straight line here, so therefore it's got to be the same.
Well, right, and she's saying, well, I've always done it wrong, so therefore I can continue to do it wrong because it's always been accepted when I've done it wrong before, is what this woman was saying, right? She only did 4 out of 7 matches in order to claim that this was this man's fingerprints.
Yes.
Rulings in the past year show judges are reluctant to rule against long-accepted evidence even when serious questions have been raised about its reliability. A judge in Pennsylvania ruled prosecutors can call an expert to testify about bite marks found on a murder victim's body, despite 29 wrongful arrests and convictions nationwide attributed to unreliable bite mark evidence since the year 2000. A Connecticut judge
That sounds highly unreliable. How the hell are you going to... I mean, what kind of information can you really get from bite marks?
Well, see, we've got x-rays of this guy's dental things, and then look here, and, there's front teeth.
It's just
this guy's got front teeth. There's front teeth on the bite mark here, so therefore it got to be him.
Yep.
A Connecticut judge allowed prosecutors to present evidence that a footprint was made by a specific shoe belonging to a man accused of murder.
These shoes were not mass-produced. This was his specific shoe.
Despite a 2016 finding by the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology that such associations are, quote, unsupported by any meaningful evidence or estimates of their accuracy.
Let's go to Sean. We can continue with more on the justice scam. But Sean's in Dallas, Texas. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Sean. Sean, in Texas. Going once. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
I hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'd like to talk about jury nullification.
Sure.
And how you present yourself as someone proactively trying to tell everyone that victimless crimes are not crimes.
Are you asking, I'm sorry, just real quick, are you asking for how you present yourself if you are on a jury pool as one of the potential selectees?
No, just outside handing out flyers.
Okay, you're just going to do straight up flyer handing out. How you present yourself, you mean like how you should dress or how you talk to people or what?
Yeah. I noticed that in Dallas, Texas, if you wear a suit and tie, people take you more seriously when it's 105 degrees and you're doing that.
Yeah, I could see.
If you wear just a t-shirt and jeans, you get one out of 50 flyers that people actually take into.
All right, stand by. Let's talk about this here in moments because I've got a lot of experience doing this. And Melanie, you've been out there before with me a couple times doing jury outreach. I think you've gone out in Manchester too, haven't you?
Yes.
So yeah, we've got people on this show with some solid experience in this area, and we'll continue here. Jury nullification outreach. Also more on this disavowed science being allowed into courtrooms coming up on Free Talk Live.
Warning. If you've recently declared bankruptcy, you're going to want to cover your ears because there's an alternative to bankruptcy and it could be better than you'd ever think possible. But if you've already declared bankruptcy and have missed this opportunity, you'll want to cover your ears now. Here it is. Right now, the company that has resolved more credit card debt than anyone in the U.S. may be able to settle your debt too. You could resolve your debt with one low monthly program payment. If you call right now and qualify, Freedom Debt Relief will show you how low your monthly program payment could be for free. Call now, 1-800-660-1581. That's 1-800-660-1581. If you're struggling with debt, this could be your answer. And the bigger your debt, the more money you could save. To find out for free how much of your hard-earned money Freedom Debt Relief could help you save, call now. 1-800-660-1581. 1-800-660-1581. 1-800-660-1581.
Back pain doesn't take vacations. It never celebrates holidays. It's on the job 24/7 to keep your life exactly where it is, in limbo. But it doesn't have to be that way, because Laser Spine Institute can help you take back your life from chronic neck and back pain. With a less than 1-inch incision, our minimally invasive procedures have provided relief to over 60,000 patients with a 97% patient satisfaction rate. So get ready to stand tall and live the life you've imagined for yourself without pain. Are you or a loved one suffering from a bulging disc, herniated disc, spinal stenosis, pinched nerve, or degenerative disc disease? Call our spine care consultants now at
855-510-BACK.
for a no-cost MRI review and to learn more. It's time to say goodbye to chronic neck and back pain.
Call 855-510-BACK to see if laser spine surgery is right for you. That's 855-510-BACK.
What have you got to lose? Laser Spine Institute, the leader in minimally invasive spine surgery.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can dial in toll-free to take control of the airwaves here at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733, and we've got Skype as well, so Skype on in here. Skype username for you is LRN.FM. Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Well, join Dash. Dash is digital cash. It's a digital money platform that is designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, private, and easy. Fees are low, and transactions are fast and can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized and run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. Join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. You can find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. Go to Dash.org and find out why. As we continue with your calls and thoughts, we're talking about the so-called justice system. throughout the night here tonight with you in the studio. It's Ian, Melanie, and Darryl. Let's go back to Sean in Dallas, Texas. Sean, you were talking about doing jury nullification outreach, although we didn't mention to our listeners who might be new to the show, what is jury nullification? How would you describe it, Sean?
The best way I describe it is the way I do on the flyers that I hand out. If it is the way I describe it on the flyers, is this a victimless crime? If so, vote no, not guilty. Just make it quick, simple, to the point.
So you've made your own custom flyers for this?
Yeah, and hand them out. Now, I noticed that if you're just wearing a T-shirt and blue jeans or shorts, not 1 in 50 people will actually read it and not wad it up and throw it on the ground, knowing that that's a crime in its own victimless way. But if you go to Goodwill and you get a suit and tie, it will cost you maybe $15. And 1 in 10 people will take it in there, and you can actually go inside the courthouse and see the difference it makes.
Wow, that's interesting.
I literally
in Texas, I think that, because in most places, Keene is different. The jurors actually have to dress up for court.
Oh.
So in Keene, if I'm doing jury outreach, I don't have a problem wearing a T-shirt and jeans because that's all they have to do. I would not dress lower than they're being made to, ideally. And I mean, if you have to go to work after and you're in some kind of uniform, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. But ideally, I wouldn't dress lower than what the jurors are made to.
But, it's just sort of a standard thing if you're doing something that, could be considered, politics and, to some degree, court stuff is political. If you wear, basically a monkey suit, then people are going to take you more seriously than if you're wearing, cut up jeans and a T-shirt.
And have you always gone out by yourself?
I've just recently started doing it.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity. And if anyone wants to join me, I can give you my email address.
Well, that's a long drive, but
I think you're talking about there in Dallas.
I mean, you're broadcasting all over Dallas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's true. We do have a broadcast station in the Dallas area that airs us in the overnights. I think
because what
KFXI.
might be a good idea is if you have like a wife or a daughter or a female friend. I have gone out jury outreach, and most libertarians are guys, so mostly with guys.
Mm-hmm.
Being a woman works really well for trying to hand people literature.
Sure.
And since that's not something you can just decide to be every time you do jury outreach, if you bring one with you, I've gone and done jury outreach with my boyfriends, and people will tell him no to the flyer and then walk past me because I'm standing further down. And after they've
said no,
they've seen me look at them say no, took it from me. So
yeah, that says something.
That is just an advantage that
That's
I
amazing.
have.
So I'll say this.
To bring my wife with me.
Yeah, I'll say this. If you want to give out your email address, you're going to get what you're going to get. I mean, I'm not saying that bad people are out there, but you never know what.
Bad people are out there. That's why we have a state and have to do jury outreach.
Yeah, I mean, so if you want to do that, you're welcome to. I don't expect you're going to get a whole avalanche or even a trickle of responses, but maybe I'm wrong. So I'll leave that up to you, Sean. Did you want to do that?
Yes. Sure, why not? It's all lowercase. It's RADER469 at yahoo.com.
I couldn't make that out. Your cell phone dropped out a little bit on the packets. Try that one more time.
It's all lowercase. It's RAVER469 at yahoo.com.
Raver?
Yeah,
RAVER?
Yes, like I like my phone number, 469.
Okay.
It's area code.
Gotcha. All right. Well, hey, so here's what I would have to say to your question about wearing a suit. I've never done it, but then again, I don't really much care to wear suits.
Well, and Keene and Texas are very different.
And I think you make a really interesting argument as to why that is, Melanie, saying that if the people in Texas are forced to wear dress clothing to this event, then...
Well, that's part of it, but I also think it's just part of it because it's Texas versus the North.
Well, right. And so my experience down in the South where I lived in Florida, I did some jury outreach down there, and I got maybe about a 50% response, meaning about half the people who were coming into the courthouse were willing to take the flyer from me. I don't think I was dressed in any special way besides maybe a polo shirt or whatever what I was wearing at
business
the time.
casual.
Not even that though. Probably shorts because it's hot. I'm not gonna wear a damn suit or anything that's hot out there. But up here, I can say Derek J, of course, who is a former co-host on Free Talk Live, always dresses very nice.
Right.
And there's no doubt that he's going to get, I think, a better response rate because he looks really sharp. And some people are going to think that if you're dressed nice, you work for the court. They're going to be more likely to make that mistake about you. But even that said, I've been asked if I work for the court simply because I stand out front and I have information and I hold the door open for people to let them in. People still think, even though I'm standing there in like a winter parka or whatever, they ask me if I work for the court. So people are just generally not paying attention. Well, I've also seen,
like the police show up wearing a big giant winter parka in the middle of the wintertime. So, it is not that far of a leap, especially if you're jury information.
Yeah, sure.
Just a generic statement.
Yeah. They presume those things about you. So, and it doesn't really seem to matter what I wear. I get more than 90% acceptance rate up here. So it is just maybe people in New Hampshire are more open-minded. They're more interested in learning new things. They're more interested in learning what their rights are. I just think that's the case about the Granite Staters as compared to a lot of other places where I remember in Florida, the most common response or objection that I would receive is that people would jump to the conclusion that I was trying to help them get out of jury duty, that I was trying to, that I was a bad guy because I was trying to give people information. They hadn't read the information. They didn't know anything about it. They just figured since I was giving them information about jury duty, it was going to be information on how to get out of it, and so they didn't like me because of what their presumption was about the information that I was giving away. That has never happened to me in New Hampshire. Nobody has ever said anything to me like, oh, I don't want your information because you're just going to try to, you don't like jury duty or something like that. When in fact, as a jury nullification advocate, I want people to get on juries who know about jury nullification so they can actually put that into play and help save people from criminal charges that don't deserve them and help keep innocent, peaceful people out of prison. So kudos to you, Sean, for getting out there and doing that. It's a lonely task, and it's hard to find people who are willing to get up at 7 in the morning to go out and do these sorts of things. If you get tired of basically getting nowhere with this, you should join us in New Hampshire, where we actually have quite a few of the courthouses covered here across the state. But we always need more people. It's still a very select group of individuals who does this kind of outreach, and we could really use some more folks up here. Hey, thanks for the call tonight, man. I hope that helped somewhat.
I've already asked my boss if I can transfer up there.
Excellent. Well, that's what takes first is to see what the options are, and you never know. You start asking around, you might find doors and pathways open up for you. Thanks for the call, Sean. I appreciate it. If you want to learn more about New Hampshire and why libertarians, voluntarists, liberty-loving anarchists are moving up here in fairly large numbers, you really ought to check out the 101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire. You go to 101reasonsfilm.com. You can watch the hour-long documentary film there. It's great. I had the pleasure of being the co-producer of it, and it's very, very persuasive, very useful information. In fact, Will Coley is on the line here from Tennessee, soon to be our neighbor in Keene, New Hampshire. At least that's the plan at the moment. You're raising funds to open up a mosque in Keene, New Hampshire. Hey, Will.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey, just doing great. How's the fundraiser going along?
We're actually doing fairly well. We're up to about $6,000 in total.
Wow. Not bad.
Sounds like bumper music.
We're going to get back into it. I know you were starting with a $15,000 request, but you managed to do some cost savings, right? What's it down to right now is the total that you're trying to raise? $11,000. So over halfway to the goal here. We're going to continue. You're going to, I don't know what you're calling about, but we'll find out here in moments. Will Coley is with us from Muslims for Liberty. Muslims, the number 4liberty.org. And hour number 3 is on the way. This is Free Talk Live. Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. For an investment of as low as $129, you can have a lifetime mining contract and support the Bitcoin network. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. It's the most profitable pool for miners, paying 120% of the block reward. That's pool.bitcoin.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Pure Life Water, helping you drink better and live better by providing a zero-calorie alternative to sugary drinks. Visit us at nestle-purelife.us. When kids are playing, they often don't want to stop to keep hydrated. So send them out with a bottle of water and encourage them to take frequent drink breaks or call them inside for a quick sip. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, August 21st, 2017. Silver's trading at $17.06 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,288 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.5 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,053. Antiwar.com reports North Korea's state media warned on Sunday that the joint war games in South Korea, scheduled to begin on Monday, are adding fuel to the fire of an already tense situation between North Korea and the United States, warning against further reckless behavior. The statement expressed particular concern that the drill would evolve into actual fighting, warning that this could quickly lead to a nuclear war and that the U.S. should not hold on to the fantasy that they can securely have a war at someone else's door. U.S. officials note this particular war game is purely defensive in nature, which is actually true. The spring war game simulates invading North Korea, while this much smaller war game simulates defending against a North Korean invasion. The timing of the annual exercise is coincidental, but still very provocative, given that not so long ago there was a very serious concern about the U.S. attacking North Korea, and despite assurances from the administration that nuclear war is not imminent, it still appears concerningly dangerous that one side or the other will misstep and start a massive war. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spend a Bit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend a Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports Joe's Crab Shack, the chain of beach-themed seafood restaurants, has closed at least 40 locations as the company undergoes a bankruptcy and sale. Consumerists confirmed the location closings from readers and calls to the Crab Shack. 7 of the closings are in Texas, the state where the company's owner is based in Houston. The companion brand, Brick House Tavern Plus Tapped, closed 2 locations. The company's website now lists 72 Joe's Crab Shacks and 23 Brick Houses. Locations began closing closing without warning to employees or the public the week of August 7th. One Brickhouse Tavern server said, "We got an email for a last-minute conference call Tuesday morning, August 8th, that lasted less than 5 minutes, stating that we would not be opening the restaurant effective immediately and that it was permanently closed." A worker in Indiana told consumers they heard the parent company only wants 60 Joe's Crab Shack locations to remain open. Joe's Crab Shack owner, Ignite Restaurant Group, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection on June 6th in Houston. Landry's, whose brands include Bubba Gump Shrimp Company, Morton's Steakhouse, and Rainforest Cafe, won a bankruptcy auction in August for $57 million for just the Crab Shack brand. A federal judge approved the deal. In 1994, Landry's founder, Tillman Fertitta, bought the original Joe's Crab Shack, which opened in 1991, and spun off the Joe's and Brickhouse brands to J.H. Whitney and Company in 2006. It went public in 2009 and then became Ignite Restaurant Group. Earlier, Ignite said it had entered a $60 million sale agreement with KRG Acquisitions Company, LLC, for both brands. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke will recommend on August 24th whether to eliminate or shrink nearly 24 national monuments, creating the first major test for a 111-year-old law that gives presidents the power to protect swaths of public land. Zinke is expected to recommend that at least some of the national monuments under review, which were all created since 1996, be rescinded or shrunk in size. Any recommendation of reduction could herald a move into uncharted territory. Under the Antiquities Act, a president can declare certain areas of historic or scientific interest to be a national monument. However, no president has ever revoked a previous designation. Previous presidents, including Woodrow Wilson and William Howard Taft, did reduce the size of some existing monuments. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
I always dreamed of providing the nation with concise recaps of the week's events. One fateful summer in 1934, legendary onion mogul T. Herman Zwiebel was passing through our town to acquire an oil derrick when he overheard me calling in the oxen in my breathy baritone and offered me the opportunity of a lifetime. Yes, from the turbulent war times of the 1940s.
The Onion welcomes the majestic Axis armies as conquering heroes.
To the free-spirited 60s.
And remember, there's nothing more cosmic than keeping your house insulated with Thermoflake brand asbestos.
I can truly say I've been here for the turning of the ages. But now, viewers, my beautiful 19-year-old wife and I will take our much-deserved retirement to my Genevan chateau. I wish all of my detractors empty, destitute lives. And for my allies, I hope for all the pleasures availed by heaven. So, finally, let me say one last time. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of the program. As always, you can join us on the radio here and take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, it's me, Ian.
Melanie.
And Darryl.
We're going back to the phones and the fun. Coming up, more from Darryl's story about disavowed science. Science that, isn't really science at all, as we were finding out, and that scientists have essentially said, yeah, this is bunk. This stuff should not be accepted in court, but yet they continue to accept these things. You'll tell us more about that on the way, but we've got Will Coley on the line with us from Muslims for Liberty, Muslims4Liberty.org. He's the host of Call to Freedom, which is the Sunday night show on LRN.FM. It follows Free Talk Live from 10 to midnight Eastern Time. So, Will, welcome back to Free Talk Live. What were you calling about tonight?
Well, actually, I had been giving you guys weekly updates and didn't call last week to give you that update that we had finally hit $6,000, which is the magic number for moving.
Oh.
Well, the magic number to move is 6,000. The magic number to be able to finish the first phase of the remodel project is 11,000.
I see.
Then we have a second phase of the remodel project that will probably cost us an additional 15 to 20,000. That's about 2 years down the line.
Got it. All right, so you've already got big plans for the mosque that you're planning to build in Keene, New Hampshire. The first, what did you describe it as, full-time or full service? How did you describe the mosque?
Both full-time and full service. Most of the community, I've actually got a chance to speak with local Muslims there in the Keene and the Battleboro area.
Mm-hmm.
And they rent a room on Friday for a few hours to go and have congregational prayer once a week. And that's their mosque. That's it. So what we will be providing is 5 prayers a day at the mosque. You can come to the mosque at 3:30 in the morning, if that's when the first prayer of the day is, or you can be there at 11 o'clock at night to come in for community prayer. When are you going to sleep? Do what?
When are you going to sleep?
Apparently from 11 p.m. to 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean, this is basically, I mean, you've got a family, but, I mean, are you going to be the, what's the word, imam?
Imam.
Yeah. Yes, for now, at least, until we can find somebody to hire that I like better.
I see. All right. So 5 times a day, and that's down from 50, as I recall, in the Quran, when Muhammad is kind of going on I think it was like some sort of like spiritual journey of some sort, and meets with God, and God actually tells him he wants 50 prayers a day, and Muhammad's like, no, we got to do less than that. People are busy. And so he basically had to like negotiate.
We
with
got
God.
stuff to do.
He talked him down. He talked down God from 50 prayers a day to 5. Isn't that right? Is that pretty much the story?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But we'll be offering that. We'll also offer, during Ramadan, and the mosque will be open for the full Ramadan service, which basically means 24 hours a day for 30 days. We'll have area for people to come and eat and break fast together. We're also putting a nursery in. I actually just went and spent about $1,000 over the last 2 days purchasing stuff to outfit the nursery, the children's area. So we're working on it. We're well on our way to getting it done. We've got a few more donors. I spoke to one of the guys there. They're absolutely elated in the Keene area, the Muslims that live there, because they've tried to establish a religious center like this on more than one occasion, and it's never been able to come to fruition because of financial issues.
Well, there probably aren't that many of them, I would imagine, and so it can be hard to put together any
How many are we talking about here? Are we talking a handful, dozens?
Less now than when they first started trying 3 years ago. The imam from Keene now lives in Arkansas. They have no imam. The community is just a group of Muslims now. So there's no real community leadership or anything in the area. And we're kind of basically coming in and saying, look, you guys have been trying to have this. Here it is. And they're all very, very excited about the opportunity. And there's a chance that we may be able to do the phase 2 remodel within the first year, because they may have the funding for that already sitting there. It just depends on how it kind of pans out. If that small community sees enough of the leadership in that community sees a good thing in us, what we're doing, and they come over and they bring that funding with them, then we'll be expanding very quickly.
And so right now you're doing a Launch Good fundraiser. What's the easiest way for people to get a link there? I know I put a link up in the Free Keene article if somebody wants to go and check that out. It's still fairly fresh over at freekeene.com.
Google Launch Good New Hampshire. We're literally the only fundraiser in New Hampshire on the site right now.
Now, interestingly, and you didn't plan this, but even though you're planning to open the very first full-time mosque in New Hampshire, it actually looks like it's going to be in competition or friendly competition with a mosque that they're building or they're going to be putting online in Concord as well. So it appears that there's similar plans afoot elsewhere.
I actually spoke the sheikh that I study with, Sheikh Hassan Lesheb. He used to live in Manchester about 6 years ago, and that's where he moved here from. And he said that these two communities have been working on building those mosques for years.
Mm-hmm.
Like they bought the property years and years and years ago, and it's become like a step-by-step process that takes many years to complete. Like the mosque in Manchester that they're building has been partially completed for like 3 or 4 years now, and it's still not finished. So, and it's the same issue. It's small communities trying to raise the money to build these things themselves, and that means they're having to do it very slowly, a piece at a time.
Right.
And that's slowing them down, whereas the Malik Center is turnkey. We walk in, do a quick remodel that'll take about 3 weeks, and then open the door, and we're ready to roll. And then if a year down the line, inshallah, expand the prayer space. But again, the mosque can still function while that's going on, and it's not, and 2 more years before we open to do that. No, we're open and running and servicing the community.
I'm super excited about it, and obviously I'm proud that the Shire Free Church is able to help out in this case by donating the property for the purpose, which is wonderful. It's going to take our existing property that is currently just being rented and turn that into a religious purpose, which is of course what we're here to do, is spread peace, and so it's I think it's going to be a wonderful synergy. It's a bit of a bumpy road to of course get some folks out of a house that have been living there for a while and get things cleaned up in a short period of time. So those are some of our challenges that we're facing. But hopefully we're going to get this thing rolling sometime. You'll be able to officially open up in October if all goes well. You're already receiving some interest from the media. The Keene Sentinel reached out to you today, I believe it was.
Yeah, and they're all really interested. They wanted to talk to local Muslims who had been trying. They wanted to talk to the local imam who had moved. And they're really interested in the idea of us coming there to create, specifically for the purpose of creating this community in the Keene, New Hampshire area. Of course, they ask the normal questions about, am I afraid of opposition or, conservative groups trying to shut us down and that kind of stuff. And that's something that comes along with
the territory.
I deal with that in my work every day, so like it's okay. So it's a conservative is mad that I'm doing something. Well, then I guess that means it's Tuesday, so to me that's just another day in the life, it's just the extra. There is a lot of extra responsibility that will now I'm taking on to be the caretaker and actually run this community and be the one who makes sure these doors are open every day for the local Muslims, make sure that it's open all winter for local homeless to come warm up during the daytime, and keeping it functioning, keeping it clean, and keeping it successful is basically going to rest on my shoulders.
Well, we'll keep updating our listeners. You've reached more than 50% of your goal, but folks who want to help out, you don't have to be a Muslim. If you like Will and you like his activism for the Libertarian Party that he's done, and if you've met him at the Porcupine Freedom Festival, as he's been feeding hundreds of people at these freedom festivals during Ramadan, and you appreciate his activism, you appreciate his dedication, then head on over to launchgood.com, search for New Hampshire. You'll find his fundraiser there. You can read more about it at freekeene.com. Thanks, Will. We'll continue.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Sleep apnea sufferer who's on the go to your phone. Because if you give us a call right now, you'll be able to try the world's first portable mini CPAP device absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. It's the Transcend Mini CPAP, an engineering marvel that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. Its unique design is so small and so light, you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. No more dragging around a big, bulky CPAP. Even better, now you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights by calling minicpap.com, 1-800-768-3138. Transcend is FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. You can also add a battery pack that's as tiny as a deck of cards. So now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't wait. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now, 1-800-768-3138. That's 1-800-768-3138.
Investing is a long-term process. How many times can you think of in the last decade that the stock market has destroyed retirement funds for people just like you and me? For your existing IRA, you need the security that gold has provided for centuries. Remember, gold has never been worth zero. Capital Gold would like to introduce you to the Home Storage Gold IRA. It's a self-directed IRA set up with all the protection and tax benefits of an LLC. But the big difference in this IRA is you invest in gold and you hold it in your possession. You can't do that with stocks. That's security. You can transfer any type of IRA hassle-free in days. Please call right now and learn more, and we'll waive the $500 setup fee and give you a free safe to store your gold. 800-535-7789. 800-535-7789. 800-535-7789. That's 800-535-7789.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free. Join us here. Bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype as well, so feel free to Skype on in here at Skype username LRN.FM. We've been talking mostly throughout the show about the so-called justice system. We're going to get back into Darryl's story about judges routinely allowing in really questionable science. Yeah. Science, so-called science that has been disproven plenty of times, but it still sort of is considered to be legitimate within the court system, so they let it happen.
Right, and this is largely because judges rely based on court precedent.
Rather than science.
Right, because, we've got to go based off of the laws and, common law, and, science isn't part of what got passed by Congress or what got ruled by the Supreme Court or some, appellate court above us.
They're more interested in the opinion of attorneys rather than, any kind of scientific method of proving what does and does not work.
Correct.
So we'll continue with that here in moments. But I do want to let you know about how you can get some help from a real anarchist during tax season. And that is our friend Melanie. She does taxes. She's an accountant. And she's actually kind of striking out on her own here coming up for the tax season in 2018. But if you're going to be filing taxes in 2018 and you want to save as much as you possibly can or not pay as much as you can, avoid paying, then you need to hire somebody who knows what they're doing. And that's you, Melanie.
Yes.
You've got a website. Go ahead.
Yeah. So if you have a small business, you're kind of doing some side work, something like that, or maybe your main thing is all self-employed where but you can't hide it. So you would come to me before the end of the year, and I have a lot of people who I look over their stuff every month. Just depends on what kind of volume they're doing, what they have going on. Because where some stuff is retroactive, like if you're just an individual and you need to put more money in a IRA, you can do that after the first of the year. If you're a business that needs to make a purchase or something like that, that needs to happen before December 31st. So if you come to me on, January 5th, if there's
too late.
Yeah.
So start planning now. Get in touch with Melanie sooner rather than later. Whether you need her just for the end of the year taxes or for ongoing bookkeeping, you do that too.
Yes.
Right? So whatever kind of level of assistance you need with all that stuff. That's not why you got into business. You didn't get into business so you could keep the books, right? You got into business to provide a product or service to people, and the books are just sort of something you have to do. And why not have somebody who actually appears to enjoy doing that kind of thing do it for you? And that's Melanie, and she hates the state, so she's going to do everything she can to make sure your liability to them is as low as possible. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I hate the state more than any other
attorney
entity.
Or accountant.
Well, that also, but that's not enough a hate for the state for me. Oh, I mean, anything you want to dismantle, you hate pretty badly. So
how can people contact?
It's on
tax.freetalklive.com.
Yeah.
That takes you right to her website, which is a little longer. So just go to tax.freetalklive.com and you can get in touch with Melanie directly there.
Excellent.
All right, so let's go to Ralph. He's in New Jersey. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Ralph.
Boston and what happened in Virginia happened in my lifetime. Okay, and not to mention the eclipse today. Okay, but the eclipse has nothing to do with the issue of race. Well, you could say a dark plague has
you're going to try to
wait.
You're going to try to compare the eclipse to race?
Well, it was dark, so you could say the dark plague has taken over the...
You are just...
And
are you
what
for
does
real?
That mean? And what does... I am for real. Okay? I am for real.
Fair, there was a mainstream...
Hold on, Ralph.
As a matter of fact, if you want, I'll bring Richard Smith.
What I want you to do is stop yelling into your damn phone because you're breaking up. It's hard to understand you. What was that, Melanie?
To be fair, there was a mainstream media article on why the eclipse is racist, which someone sent to me and wanted me to talk about. And I'm like, no, this is not.
I fit right into that mold. I fit right into that mold.
Here's why the meteor crashing into the Earth is racist.
You fit right into the mold of the mainstream media. That's nothing to brag about, Ralph.
Yeah, Melanie, good evening to you. Now, Virginia, is that the coming, race war, civil war in this country? And I've been wanting to ask this question as far as the white guilty is concerned, okay? Considering that the biggest Negro animal is to turn this country asunder.
I can't understand what you're saying.
To turn this country apart.
It's a shame, Ralph. It's a shame you don't call on Skype because it would be a lot easier to understand you if you would take a moment to do that. But you never do, so we're just going to have to hang up the call because it's hard to understand you. Thanks for the call. Toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. I did find that story, or at least a story, as Vox.com headline, quote, "The eclipse is racist," unquote, how one bad article sparked a conservative pile-on. This from Tara Golshan. A case of solar eclipse metaphor gone terribly, terribly wrong has become a conservative talking point about the left and racism. Last week, The Atlantic reprinted a Democracy, a Journal of Ideas article which attempted to make a hard-to-parse point about race in America in the context of the solar eclipse. The thesis of the article was that the regions experiencing the total eclipse are mostly inhabited by white people, and also America has a history of racism. It was quickly picked up by far-right pundits and conservative media
because it's ridiculous. So now they're trying to come back and say, "Oh, it was a joke." No,
I also saw something, several weeks ago, possibly month and a half ago, where they looked at the map and they're like, everywhere that's going to be in the path of totality voted for Donald Trump.
So it's a
Donald
sign
Trump
from God?
caused the eclipse, apparently. I don't know. Like,
Is it a sign for God that they were wrong or that they were right?
well, there was a woman on Facebook who wanted...
I don't know.
Somebody was having an eclipse party, and she wanted them to reschedule the eclipse to better fit with her children's school schedule.
Yeah, the kids went back to school today. Can't we have this on a weekend?
I don't know. I'm slacking. Apparently, all these other people can cause and prevent eclipses, but like I just have no idea how to do
The
that.
government can stop the eclipse. They can put time on hold. It was quickly picked up by far-right pundits and conservative media as the left's attempt to make everything about racism. They even have Alex Jones tweeting about it.
Well, if you're writing an article about how the eclipse is racist, that is an attempt to make everything about racism.
The Daily Caller bashed the article with the headline, quote, "The eclipse is racist because it fails to affect enough black people, the Atlantic suggests," unquote. The article comes on the heels, of course, of the Charlottesville white supremacist rally in which one anti-racism demonstrator was killed. Donald Trump equivocated his condemnation of neo-Nazis after the incident, prompting backlash from both Republicans and Democrats. But Trump's core supporters brushed it off as yet another mainstream knock against Trump. And last Wednesday, former presidential candidate Herman Cain went on Sean Hannity's show to say, quote, "They couldn't make Russia, Russia, Russia stick. They couldn't make refugees, refugees, refugees stick. So now the desperate attempt is racism, racism, racism." Anyway, that just seems more like a summary of some stuff that happened than more about the eclipse. But there you go. That gives you. There's more to the story, but it's not really worth talking about.
That's not even a story.
Yeah,
it's just random sentences.
So there's more coming up here in moments. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
I think an AI wrote that article.
More on the way. It's Free Talk Live.
Welcome aboard. Your new science fiction adventure is ready to launch. Discover an amazing journey at GalaxyQuestBooks.com. Start a new sci-fi adventure with the Guardian series, a classic sci-fi mystery that starts 500 years in the future. From author D. Arthur Gussner. Series available from Barnes & Noble or Amazon as paperback or ebooks. GalaxyQuestBooks.com, where the adventure begins.
North Korea openly threatens the U.S. and launches a new missile every other week. Their warhead of choice? Electromagnetic pulse. Such an event would cripple the U.S. power grid for years and leave millions in the dark. Are you ready? You can be with a Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator. Solarc works day in and day out to keep all of your essentials protected. That means you can have peace of mind knowing your power will be there when you most need it. Visit solarc.us to see EMP testing. That's solarc.us. Energy insurance for your family.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us on the radio where you can take control of the airwaves here. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Darryl.
We're going to get back into your calls and thoughts. And, of course, you can dial in about anything you want to discuss. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733, or Skype into the show. That's Skype username LRN.FM. Still to come, more on the disavowed science that is relatively accepted in courtrooms across America. Darryl's got more on that story, but first, your calls and your thoughts are welcome. Let's go to Sarah in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to bring up that I voted for the counselor Pat Davis, and when I went to his forum, he was in favor of the ART.
The ART, which is the Albuquerque Rapid Transit.
Yeah, that like $50 billion boondoggle or something.
Some amount of billions. Yes, it's definitely a boondoggle that was, as you've called about. The only reason we know what it is because Sarah's called about it in the past on more than one occasion, where they have to tear up, I believe it was Route 66, this sort of classic retail strip there in Albuquerque. Or at least part of it runs through Albuquerque, and they got to tear that up, and then they got to add a big old lane for this art thing. This rapid
and it's going to be right in the middle
right down
of
the middle of the road. Yep, and so they're going to take out at least a couple lanes of traffic in order to get this thing in. So it's actually going to make traffic more congested. It's going to make it more difficult to get where you need to go. It's going to make it take longer.
And then the pedestrians are going to have to cross the street to get there.
Because they got to go to the middle of the
Sarah,
street.
Is always concerned about the people that get run over all the time, twice by multiple cars. That's just going to wind up increasing the possibility that a pedestrian gets hit because they're going to have to now cross the street to get to the rapid transit that is supposed to prevent them from driving and something get run over.
But, I just want to say Pat Davis, he won by 70% in District 6. So I voted in that election.
And you said he supports the rapid transit program?
That's correct. When he was, I went to his forum, and he says, Mayor Barry, he wants the ART, so I support it. I'm in favor of it.
That's why he supports it, because another politician supports it? I mean, that's not a really good reason to do something, right? If somebody else is doing it, that's why you do it. Not because you've actually looked at the program, not because you've looked at the numbers, you've looked at what people are saying to you about it, you've made any kind of consideration in any way, shape, or form. It's just, the mayor's in favor of it, so I guess I should be too. This is the kind of person you support for city council, huh?
Well, the thing about it is, how come? Okay, I came out and voted. Okay, people want other people to vote, somebody else to decide, somebody else to vote, and they get mad about it. He was clearly in support of the ART.
Wait a minute, can you run that by me one more time? People want somebody else to decide, somebody else to vote. They get mad about it. What does that mean?
Okay, voter apathy. People don't want to bother to vote. You know that. Right?
Yeah.
So then what little people showed up, he won by 70%. So people voted for him in favor of the ART.
And I don't want to bother to run Shell Oil, but I also don't want them to come and tear up the road either. And that's essentially what voting is. Voting is you're operating as a board member of either the United States federal government or one of the subsidiaries, And that's kind of like a really big job if you're having to hire and fire, CEOs of companies and city councils or whatever they're calling them, essentially just, the managers.
No, okay. City councilor, he's an Albuquerque city councilor. He won by the constituents, by the voters. And
right, but Sarah, hold on. You do realize that the city councilors get to draw the city council district, so the councilors basically pick their constituents, and if, the vast majority of the people, and I don't know what voter turnout was in the Albuquerque municipal election, but municipal elections
Probably
generally
crappy.
have very low voter turnout, and that's largely because people feel that their vote doesn't matter. And when you've got somebody that won by 70% of the vote, then the people that didn't vote are then, in their minds thinking, well, didn't make any difference if I showed up to vote because my one vote wouldn't have changed the results. So it's not necessarily apathy of I don't care who gets elected. A lot of times it's apathy of there's nobody worth voting for, so what difference does it make?
So that my whole thing is, well, then shut up and be quiet and just accept it, because you never bothered to. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Okay,
well, I don't live in Albuquerque, but I can still have opinions about things going on there because you call and ask me questions about things going on in Albuquerque. Or do you want me to just sit and be quiet and not answer the questions that you ask me?
No, I'm talking about people that are fighting the ART now. Well, then don't complain. You never bothered to vote. You never participated.
Okay, but the ARP was not a ballot initiative. ARP was never on the ballot. This guy did not have one issue of ARP and nothing else. That is not...
ART, but yes.
No, but
Albuquerque Rapid
he
Transit.
made it very clear that he was in support of public transit.
And that was his
buses
only
and the
issue.
ARP.
You're telling me that was this guy's only position on any issue? He had no other issues.
He got elected because of that and many other reasons.
Where did he stand on the soda tax, Sarah? That's another big thing that you call in about all the time. Where did he stand on the soda tax?
Well, look, I'm going to stick on this issue here.
She is so bad at answering questions. Sarah, we can't have a conversation if you won't actually answer a question. Thanks for the call tonight. Maybe you can answer some questions next time.
And then she just, repeats her initial point over and over and over again. Yeah. It's not really a conversation ever.
Well, we try. I mean, we do.
Oh,
we
I know
try
we try
to have a conversation with her. Every now and then you can get an answer out of her, but it never even matters. Like whatever it is that she's. Most of the time, she won't answer a question directly, but if she ever does, it doesn't register with her. So, like when we've pointed out to her on multitude of occasions that because she supports the state or the government or whatever, she does support violence being used against her neighbors. And there was one time where I think she did actually sort of begrudgingly acknowledge that violence would be used.
And, she also acknowledged a couple of times that, she's a big advocate of, again, the soda tax. She's also an advocate of increasing taxes on cigarettes, increasing taxes on, various things, gasoline. Well, if you increase the tax on gasoline, fewer people will drive, and then this and that and the other thing. You increase the tax on soda, fewer people buy soda.
That's not even true. The demand for gasoline is pretty inelastic.
Right, but still, using that logic of you increase a tax and it drives down demand. Well, what happens, Sarah, when you increase the tax on income? Does that not incentivize people to make less money so that their taxes don't go up? And that's where the disconnect is. She's like, no, that's just different.
Well, first of all, she has no economic experience whatsoever. I mean, you can't ask a lifetime welfare recipient questions about income tax.
Right, but again, you can ask somebody a question about logic of, you said this.
Not Sarah. No, you can't. Not Sarah.
I've asked her the question. You said that increasing the tax on soda drives down the number of people that buy soda.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, that's why I support it. Okay, well, when you increase taxes on employment, doesn't that disincentivize people to make more money? And she's like, no, just because that's different.
Because I said so.
Right, because, she can logic occasionally, but she can't logic
I don't think she's
consistently.
logicking. I think that there's some Democratic Initiative Party affiliation down there who's handing out a list of call every radio station on earth and say these 5 things.
No, I think she listens to NPR, George Norrie, and then calls in about a topic that she heard earlier in the day.
She does seem to have her pet topics. That much is for sure. But she'll also sometimes randomly call about stuff. The other night, she was calling about Atlantis right at the very end of the show, so we didn't get a chance to get her latest on that. So she ranges from usually calling about traffic-related frustrations for her.
And cities on the moon.
Well, that's kind of the Atlantis category. Then she gets into the Atlantis cities on the moon.
Because you can put cities on the moon eventually.
No, she believes they're already there. She believes they're there now.
They're there. The astronauts that went up in the 60s saw them.
Yeah. All right, so more coming up here. You can share your thoughts. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, like Freedom, 855-450-3733. You can join us in the remaining moments of Free Talk Live, which are coming up.
Have you ever thought you'd like to flip houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? Are you ready to be your own boss so you can start living the good life? Hi, I'm Preston Ely. I used to be so broke. I had my electricity turned off 9 times, but I figured out a way to quit my job and find financial freedom in real estate. For a limited time, I want to send you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It shows you how to copy exactly what I did so you can make money from the comfort of your own home without even doing any manual labor. I've already given away 5,000 books and they're going fast. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-958-9256. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. It's short, fun to read, easy to understand, and awesome. To find out how to get your free book while supplies last, call 1-800-958-9256. Call 1-800-958-9256. 1-800-958-9256.
Are you tired of paying fees and commissions to that other site? I know you are. And I'm here to tell you about a great alternative to sell your stuff. BuySellMakeOffer.com is the best-selling site to ever come along. It doesn't matter what you're selling, big or small, it's easier than ever. And you can use Skype to show your items and get to know your potential buyer, and they can see that you are for real. No more blind trust. And you're not limited to snapshots. You can video what you're selling to better sell it fast. For as little as $9.95, and that's after a free 30 days, you can sell everything you no longer want with absolutely no fees, ever. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and become part of a community of buyers and sellers who have already discovered this revolutionary way of getting it sold online. That's BuySellMakeOffer.com. You'll never regret making the switch. BuySellMakeOffer.com. So, what are you waiting for?
A new report by the Department of Health and Human Services has found that the average male is 4,000% less effective in fights than he imagines, casting powerful doubts on many men's claims that they could take someone out in 2 seconds or smash a guy's face in with their fist.
On average, men describing hypothetical fights overestimated their level of combat skill by a factor of 40, with 80% of males incorrectly predicting they could mess a guy up real bad with one solid punch to the jaw. During actual physical altercations, however, these men were statistically more likely to end up hurting themselves, or, most commonly, trying to diffuse the tension by nervously saying, "Hey man, let's all just calm down, okay?" before any fighting even came to pass.
Researchers discovered that men were significantly weaker than they verbally indicated while chatting with friends in bars and locker rooms, and that men who were 90% sure they could tear someone a new asshole tended to succeed in fewer than 1 in 10 fights.
This is the Onion News Network.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it.
Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Moments remain here. Enough time for you if you join us right now. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can get behind the LRN.FM Patreon for $2 a month if you support our satellite broadcasting that we do, Free Talk Live, and all the other great shows on LRN.FM, including the Darryl's various different selections of shows. Dozens of liberty-oriented podcasts and live shows are available for you on LRN.FM, and most of us take it for granted because we can get it on the internet anytime, but a lot of people don't have the internet, especially if they're in sub-Saharan Africa, for instance, which is where one of our satellites broadcasts over, and there's also a satellite over North and Central America. If you want to help support those satellite channels that are broadcasting the ideas of liberty 24/7, then get behind the Patreon for $2 a month over at fund.lrn.fm. F-U-N-D, fund.lrn.fm. There's a short 3-minute video there that'll kind of introduce you to what's going on and what free-to-air satellite is and how it helps people around the globe who are not particularly well off connect with these ideas very, very affordably. So check it out over at fund.lrn.fm. Darryl, let's get back into the original story that, I don't know, we started like an hour ago.
Yes.
About these sciences, which, as you said, Melanie, are better described as the crime lab rather than science lab.
They call it.
Yeah, they call it crime lab.
St. Tammany called it the crime lab. A lot of jurisdictions call it the crime lab.
And that makes it sound like there's science going on, but what you say is, and what this article is saying,
there's a laboratory.
There's a bunch of bunk going on.
Yeah.
And they're using that bunk to convict people of things.
Right, and backing up just a little bit in the article, and
where's it from again?
The Associated Press.
Okay, got it.
It says that these various things are persuasive to jurors because they see it played out on Law and Order and CSI.
Sure, we matched a hair to another hair, we matched a shoe print to another shoe print. This
Tire
man's
tracks,
guilty.
Various things. The print on the jeans, and
it's a match.
That doesn't matter that like Levi Strauss sells multiple pairs of jeans that look exactly the same because you don't really make money by only selling one pair. But yeah, so here are some of the rulings, again, just from the last year that show that judges are reluctant to rule against these things and actually, go in favor of actual science. A judge in Pennsylvania ruled prosecutors can call an expert witness to testify about bite marks found on a murder victim's body, despite 29 wrongful arrests and convictions nationwide attributed to unreliable bite mark evidence since the year 2000. A Connecticut judge allowed prosecutors to present evidence that a footprint was made by a specific shoe belonging to a man accused of murder, despite a 2016 finding by the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technologies that such associations are, quote, unsupported by any meaningful evidence or estimates of their accuracy. And a federal judge in Chicago rejected a request to exclude testimony of government experts to describe firearm and tool mark comparisons they performed on bullets collected at crime scenes in the trial of Hobo's gang members. The judge reasoned that defense lawyers were free to cross-examine the government's experts. 2 reports by scientific boards have sharply criticized the use of such forensic evidence, and universities that teach it are moving away from visual analysis, essentially eyeballing it, and going towards more precise biometric tools. Some defense lawyers fear that any progress that they've made on strengthening forensic sciences may be lost under President Trump. In April, Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced that the Department of Justice would disband the National Commission on Forensic Science, an independent panel of scientists, researchers, judges, and attorneys that have been studying how to improve the reliability of forensics practices.
So they're just chucking that out. Oh, yeah, we don't need these guys around here anymore. Let's just go with whatever the cop scientists say, and we'll just believe them.
Pretty much. Yeah. Some forensic methods have been questioned by defense lawyers for years, but it wasn't until 2009 that the National Academy of Sciences, a nonprofit consisting of some of the nation's most distinguished researchers, released a report that found that, with the exception of DNA, many methods had not been tested enough to even be considered valid. The report said, quote, "The simple reality is that the interpretation of forensic evidence is not always based on scientific studies to determine its validity. That is a serious problem."
Yeah, probably very, very rarely based on any actual science.
Some forensic methods. Oh, wait, no, that's what I just read. The National Registry of Exonerations at the University of California, Irvine, has documented more than 2,000 exonerations since 1989.
Wow.
Nearly 1/4 list false or misleading forensic evidence as a contributing factor. And a report last fall from the President's Counsel, the one that he's getting rid of,
disbanding,
criticized several feature comparison methods, which attempt to determine whether a sample from a crime scene is associated with a sample from a suspect by comparing patterns. The counsel said those methods, including analysis of shoe prints, tire tracks, latent fingerprints, firearms, and spent ammunition, need more study to determine their reliability and their error rates. When the reliability of forensic evidence is challenged through DNA testing or other new evidence, it often results in the granting of a new trial, even if there is no other strong evidence against a defendant.
And we've seen plenty of error rates on some basic so-called scientific tools, like the drug testing kits that they have for the sides of the road.
The field test?
Yep.
Yeah, we actually talked about those a few weeks ago, where there was the couple several years ago that wound up getting busted, raided for the growing marijuana, but all that was found was some tomato plants and a couple herbs. Well, we did a field test on this wet, clumpy stuff, and it came up that it was marijuana, even though it was actually loose tea leaves. They never sent it to a lab to be tested. They did the field test.
And these things air out all the time. And they also would have you believe that the drug dogs, are in some way scientific, and there's been plenty of studies on those that show how easily
those
manipulable.
Don't work at all.
Yeah.
Right, and I would love to see somebody try to challenge the validity of the drug dog during a trial.
It must have been done. I'm sure we've talked about something like that before.
Not a valid witness throw out all of his testimony. Because if a cop winds up contradicting themselves throughout their testimony, in theory, you can get them tossed as an invalid witness. Continuing with the article here, in 2015, the DOJ revealed that FBI agents had overstated the strength of their evidence for decades, in many cases involving microscopic hair analysis. The FBI now acknowledges that microscopic hair analysis is inconclusive and uses it only in conjunction with DNA testing. Kirk Odom was 18 when he was charged with raping a woman at gunpoint in Washington, D.C. An FBI agent testified that a hair on the woman's nightgown was indistinguishable from Odom's, a conclusion he said he reached only 8 or 10 times during thousands of analysis.
Right. But how many other times, how many other hairs would also be indistinguishable? Plenty of them, because they're just hairs.
Odom says, "I kept saying, they're lying, that's not my hair." He spent 22 years in prison before being exonerated after DNA testing of the hair and other evidence excluded him from being the rapist.
Wasn't even a possibility.
Correct.
After the actual scientific test.
The President's Counsel also found that bite mark evidence does not meet scientific standards and is unlikely to ever do so. That did not surprise Keith Harward, a former Navy sailor who spent 33 years in prison for the 1982 killing of a man and the rape of a man's wife in Newport News, Virginia. Forensics dentist testified that his teeth matched the bite mark on the woman's legs.
But in 2014, DNA test matched sperm at the scene to his, a former shipmate of his who had died years earlier in prison after being convicted of a different crime. One of the experts was Dr. Lowell Levine, an odontologist who testified in the case of serial killer Ted Bundy, linking Bundy to the 1978 murder of a college student. Harward said, "Here comes some guy waltzing up into the courtroom with these normal, everyday people in the jury. I testified in the Ted Bundy case." Boom. That was the nail in my coffin.
Wow.
I was done. The jury was hypnotized.
Jeez.
There's much more to this. I'll post the link over to the Facebook and the Twitter.
But, I mean, you've really touched on some of the most important stuff. I mean, hair analysis, bite mark analysis, all this stuff is basically garbage. And, unless you actually look at the DNA level.
Right. And then they get into talk about some of the tool mark analysis.
So, yeah, you're going to post that on the Facebook and Twitter for Free Talk Live, and you can go to facebook.freetalklive.com or twitter.freetalklive.com to find either of those feeds. And don't forget to check out Melanie on her website at tax.freetalklive if you need some tax help or bookkeeping. And we'll see you tomorrow night online in the meantime over at freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, August 21st, 2017. Silver's trading at $17.06 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,288 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.5 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,053. Antiwar.com reports North Korea's state media warned on Sunday that the joint war games in South Korea, scheduled to begin on Monday, are adding fuel to the fire of an already tense situation between North Korea and the United States, warning against further reckless behavior. The statement expressed particular concern that the drill would evolve into actual fighting, warning that this could quickly lead to a nuclear war and that the U.S. should not hold on to the fantasy that they can securely have a war at someone else's door. U.S. officials note this particular particular war game is purely defensive in nature, which is actually true. The spring war game simulates invading North Korea, while this much smaller war game simulates defending against a North Korean invasion. The timing of the annual exercise is coincidental, but still very provocative, given that not so long ago there was a very serious concern about the U.S. attacking North Korea, and despite assurances from the administration that nuclear war is not imminent, it still appears concerningly dangerous that one side or the other will misstep and start a massive war. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports Joe's Crab Shack, the chain of beach-themed seafood restaurants, has closed at least 40 locations as the company undergoes a bankruptcy and sale. Consumerists confirmed the location closings from readers and calls to the Crab Shack. 7 of the closings are in Texas, the state where the company's owner is based in Houston. The companion brand, Brick House Tavern Plus Tapped, closed 2 locations. The company's website now lists 72 Joe's Crab Shacks and 23 Brick Houses. Locations began closing without warning to employees or the public the week of August 7th. One Brickhouse Tavern server said, "We got an email for a last-minute conference call Tuesday morning, August 8th, that lasted less than 5 minutes, stating that we would not be opening the restaurant effective immediately and that it was permanently closed." A worker in Indiana told consumers they heard the parent company only wants 60 Joe's Crab Shack locations to remain open. Joe's Crab Shack owner, Ignite Restaurant Group, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection on June 6th in Houston. Landry's, whose brands include Bubba Gump Shrimp Company, Morton's Steakhouse, and Rainforest Cafe, won a bankruptcy auction in August for $57 million for just the Crab Shack brand. A federal judge approved the deal. In 1994, Landry's founder, Tillman Fertitta, bought the original Joe's Crab Shack, which opened in 1991, and spun off the Joe's and Brickhouse brands to J.H. Whitney & Company in 2006. It went public in 2009 and then became Ignite Restaurant Group. Earlier, Ignite said it had entered a $60 million sale agreement with KRG Acquisitions Company, LLC, for both brands. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke will recommend on August 24th whether to eliminate or shrink nearly 24 national monuments, creating the first major test for a 111-year-old law that gives presidents the power to protect swaths of public land. Zinke is expected to recommend that at least some of the national monuments under review, which were all created since 1996, be rescinded or shrunk in size. Any recommendation of reduction could herald a move into uncharted territory. Under the Antiquities Act, a president can declare certain areas of historic or scientific interest to be a national monument. However, no president has ever revoked a previous designation. Previous presidents, including Woodrow Wilson and William Howard Taft, did reduce the size of some existing monuments. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
From the day an ancient cave dweller painted yet another elk hunt on a wall in 15,000 BC, to Gary Marshall's 1974 discovery of 13 weather-beaten North Dakotan coal miners that would go on to become the cast of Happy Days, The Onion looks back at This Week in History. On June 17, 1954, the effects of the previous month's historic Supreme Court ruling in Brown versus the Board of Education provided black students with the educational opportunity of experiencing racism firsthand in desegregated schools. Up until that point, African American pupils could only endure racial slurs and death threats in city streets or near their homes. And on June 24, 1784, 13-year-old Edward Warren took the first hot air balloon flight, becoming the first American to urinate on a crowd from 100 feet in the air. And that was what happened this week in history.
is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Yeah, we have feared. We're just relatively concerned. Plenty of stuff going on. Damn. It's you look at Freedom's Phoenix and the headlines over the last forever. But man, it is amping up here lately. Well, today what we're going to have is Tom Woods is going to be on in the third hour. Tom Woods, man, he's been around for a long time. He's spoken at one of our Freedom Summits. We've been friends. We've had him on the show quite a bit, written a lot of books, does his own podcast that's very popular and kind of representing the Mises Institute. Well, our friend Nick Sarwark, the national chair of the Libertarian Party, he was very critical of their support of Rothbard, which in his mind, wow, he never got elected to anything, as if that matters. But there's a little dust up. There's something going for the heart and soul and the label of libertarian. And it's kind of like Cato and Koch versus, Mises, Lew Rockwell, Rothbard kind of thing, which has been going on for decades. So I'm just like, all right, we're going to find out what's up. Tom Woods, it's going to be some fun, get some history and the future of and the movement, and we'll see what happens. Scott Horton, he finally finished his new book, Fool's Errand, Time to End the War in Afghanistan. And I'm going, yeah, Scott, you can take the summer to finish. Are you going to be afeared that the war will end by the time you finish this book? Not so much. So we'll be talking about that. In this hour, James Lyons-Weiler. We know him from the Vaccine Education Summit, and we got introduced to him through the first time through the movie Vaxxed and with Dr. Judy Mikovits and their work together on vaccines. And with the Trump administration coming, there's all kinds of interesting things we're going to get to right now. James, how are you?
I'm doing well, Ernest. How are you?
I'm more than wonderful. It's good to have you on. All right. Tell me every little thing. There is you had your event, IPAC, not too long ago, and you got to tell us all about that. We haven't talked to you since then, and then there's some news coming out. Tell me everything.
Yeah, okay, man. So the vaccine risk summit, vaccine science safety science summit that happened in Pittsburgh was a great success. We had a pair of Italian researchers come who showed us how they found microcontaminants in vaccines, and they showed us all the science behind that. We had some breakout sessions, a great breakout session on something called the vaccine course for people who want to learn all of the information that's aggregated. And that course is going to be taught all around the country eventually. We're going to train 50 trainers to train everyone on how to access all the information that's been aggregated by the community on the realities of the science of vaccine and what's known about vaccines. So that was a great success, and I want to thank you for having me on the show, because we've got a brand new report out. It's a technical report by the Neurodevelopment Research Reform Consortium and by IPAC, the Institute for Pure and Applied Knowledge, This was an exploration over a number of months on whether or not it made sense to screen people who try to identify biomarkers who would help the medical community identify people who would be at risk of serious and moderate adverse events.
The government doesn't care. You're just a herd animal. If you can't take their vaccine, man, get to the back of the line. You know?
Yeah, that's about the status quo, and yet we see increased rates of autoimmunity, increased rates of neurological and other immunological disorders, and so we have, if you stand up a screening program prior to vaccination, it's a billable service, and pediatricians might actually be very interested in understanding which of their patients. Here in Pittsburgh, there's a practice that sent out a letter dismissing patients, threatening to dismiss patients from the pediatric practice. That is the denial of access to health care, which I'm sure you would say is a good thing.
Well, we had talked about this early on, and what happened was what surprised me, and I thought you guys should lead off with. See, a lot of times, oh no, everybody knows that. No, everybody does not know that. Maybe everybody in your community, everybody in your echo chamber, everybody that reads your Facebook. But I mean, not everybody knows how much money these pediatricians make if they get to a certain percentage of all of their patients being vaccinated. They get bonuses from Big Pharma, and
that's one of the conclusions of this report, that those kickbacks. It's illegal in the United States for the drug companies to give a kickback to an individual medical doctor, but it's not illegal to give kickbacks to practices, and so the accountants have taken over and have all the power, and they pressure the pediatricians to make their quota, and they do the math wrong. They, instead of say, you could do the math right. You could say, out of all the patients who don't have medical exclusions, what percentage of vaccination are we meeting? But they don't do that. They count everyone, and so they're ignoring. One of the things that we found in the research for the report is that the rates of vaccine adverse events are completely unknown, and they're currently unknowable with current methods of accounting and reporting vaccine adverse events. We don't know how many kids or adults are injured by vaccines, because there's every economic incentive within these practices to say that, well, that event, that seizure, is normal and not reported, or your kid passed out a while, but they'll be fine. Rather, they're supposed to tell the parents, well, go to the vaccine adverse events reporting system, but they don't. Classic warning signs we found a long time ago, not too long ago, just one or two generations of doctors ago. If you vaccinated a child and they broke out on the skin and came out with eczema, you never vaccinated that child again. That showed that they had an autoimmunity induced by something in the vaccines. They didn't know what it was. And now they're starting to say pro-vaccine advocates are trying to convince the public that even if you have an egg allergy, go ahead and use vaccines. Doesn't matter. Get the numbers up, because they want to make these quotas, and the quotas need to be dropped. But what happens when you bring in a vaccine to a population? You bring a vaccine in the population, and with a widespread government mandate, like they tried to do in France with the hepatitis B vaccine, you find everybody in that population that's going to have an adverse event. And so when they brought hepatitis B into France, the rate of multiple sclerosis went up, and the population, the citizenry, had a fit. The medical community had a fit and said, what's going on? The correlation is too perfect. So they ceased the hepatitis B vaccination program in France, and the rate of multiple sclerosis dropped. And it's a perfect correlation. Now, that's a cause and effect experiment on the population of France. So we know on the basis of that satisfies the logical conditions for causality. Remember, I'm a research scientist, not a medical doctor.
Well, when we come back, we'll get into more details on this. There's a lot of revelations that are coming out, and the idea that we have the technology now that you can say, all right, fine, oh my God, the vaccine's going to save the planet, but kill these people. Can we find out who those people are? No, you're not allowed. Yeah, but we can't. No, still not allowed. Why? Because heard. Everybody and everything, all.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com